Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. You know how sometimes you just need to go on a 40-year bender like Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you wake up from your slumber for a couple of minutes and you realize, holy crap, I don't think I have a job anymore. You know, things like that. It's always funny. We get on. I don't know how that happened. We get on Charlie Sheen, and we love him or
Mhm.
hate him. He's one of those guys you kind of root for him weirdly, even though he's a train wreck of a human. He's not a good person. But we just root for Charlie. But we also have in
Mhm.
our mind that he's the lush, right?
Yeah.
When the truly epic lush and maniac of Hollywood was Nick Cage, but no one looks at it like that or talks about that. Why is that? You think?
Um, Better PR. I
More
think
powerful
because
family?
yeah, well that and I think I don't know, man. The Sheens are pretty powerful too. Um, Also the fact that, Charlie just kind of owns it. He knows what he is. He's not really super ashamed of it. Uh, and,
Yeah, but
Mr.
Nick
Cage doesn't as
is
much.
truly the wild man of Hollywood, though. I mean, truly,
Yeah. He does
right?
crazy things all
He
the time.
does all the time. He actually Charlie looked up to him in that regard. Um, it's just funny. I don't really care. They do whatever they want. I'm surprised either one of them are still alive. But
Mhm.
most people in their mind don't even have that image of Nick Cage, even though it's very, very true. But nevertheless, and we're not really here to talk about those kind of dudes. The dudes are the ones that kind of entertain us. I mean, the one thing about Charlie is he's always kind of had that charisma, that swagger. People like him. Yeah,
They do.
they do. They like him. But that's not what we're really here to talk about. We're here to talk about the people that no one likes at all. Yeah.
Mm.
And of today. But first, before we get into that, we should do our standard geopolitics and stuff like that. But we're gonna wait a minute. How are you, sir? How was the weekend?
It was swell, Chester. It was my birthday weekend on Friday.
It was happy
Uh,
birthday again.
Thank you. I didn't take. The wife took me out because it was my birthday.
Hmm.
But we didn't go anywhere fancy, just to our normal little restaurant we like to go
Yeah,
to, see our people. Because we've been there so much, like we on first name basis with all the waitresses and stuff. So,
sure. Yeah,
um, so I went and saw her or them, and then had some friends come with us. Mr. Miracle and his wife came with us. Um, And then what did I do yesterday? We hung out most of the day. Just another one of them kind of. That's what I want for my birthday.
quiet,
Nothing to do. Just
quiet.
give me nothing. I don't need pageantry. I don't need presents. First of all, any present that I would want, no one can afford. So let's quit being ridiculous.
That's true.
I don't want any presents. I just want to chill and play some games or something. Um, and then I played my Saturday game with Mr. Miracle and his wife and a couple other people. Um, and then otherwise, it was a chill day all
Yeah,
day today. Did just hanging out. Went to the store right before I got here. That's why when I jumped in here, I was like, I made it. Ran to the store, had to get some things and some stuff, and just a nice chill. Terribly cold day because you see we're having one of these lovely, lovely, lovely early winters. I hate it. I hate winter. I've decided I don't want to
I
live in
love
winter
it.
anymore. I just can't do it anymore. I've been doing
Oh
it my
yeah,
whole life. I'm so sick of it. I get it. I get why old people move south. I get it. It
yeah.
makes total sense.
You're becoming an old
Uh,
man. I get it.
it's just, I just don't. Everything about the way you have to navigate it. There could be ice somewhere, and then you slip and crack your skull. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it for the pretty pictures because that's really what it is. You look outside, or you look out your window when you're driving your car, and everything looks pretty in the covered white. But it's just not worth it to me. So I'm sick of it. It came super early this year. We have snow on the ground already. Not a ton, but enough. Um, like it covers everything and a blanket. And I'm just sick of it, Chester. It's not even winter yet
Well, I've
officially.
I've been told by good sources that white ain't all that. So fair enough. Now, to be fair, it's probably more nostalgic for me because I don't even have winter here.
Go up
Uh,
north.
I do, I do.
Yeah, head
I
up north.
hunt the snow.
Yeah.
But I still have this rosy image of the winter because I
Hmm.
grew up, but I grew up in a much harsher winter than you though, so it kind of gets in your bones, you know.
You think so?
Oh,
What do you think it was
100%.
harsher for?
Oh, way harsher for us. Yeah, yeah. Rhode Island and New England, particularly down Rhode Island, Massachusetts area,
Hmm.
because of the Arctic stream that comes down, and of course you have the Gulf Stream that comes up and is counteracting against, and of course rolls over toward Europe. But it's below us. We get way colder and way harsher winters than a lot of Canada. It's just,
I guarantee you don't than us. And the reason
dude.
being is because we have the lake effect pressure. So what happens is we don't get hit with a lot of snow right here in this pocket. We
Yeah,
do get hit with it every about 10 years. We'll get a nasty blizzard of a few feet, but it's pretty rare. But what we do get is when that Arctic vortex comes down, it comes down right into us. Like we're the pocket where
sure.
it comes into and then spreads out across the country. So the one year we were averaging temperatures. This was when I was selling cars. It was a great time to try and learn to sell cars, Chester. It
Yeah.
was a great choice I made. The average temperature that year was negative 28 all winter long. That's how
Pussy.
cold it got. That's before the wind. And in the wind, and you're at the part where the owner of the lot just shuts it down because he's like, yeah,
Well,
I mean, nobody coming to buy a car in negative 50-degree
well,
temperatures.
I'll give you the wind. We do have wind, but I'd say you guys have it more consistently. When we get a
Yeah,
nor'easter, it's wicked. But no, I've seen without wind chill factor -40, dude.
yeah. So have I.
Yeah.
We've had it.
Uh,
The lowest I've ever seen was -56. It was when I was in fourth
yeah, that's
grade,
pretty
and
bad.
they shut everything down. They said, "Nah, no, don't go outside. Just don't. For no reason should you be outside."
All right. Well, we have bad winters, is the point, folks.
Yes.
But yeah, but that whole New England area is kind of a unique situation, though. It's colder than you would imagine, right? Because of that problem. But yeah, no, I haven't lived in it in forever, so what do I know? I live in, if it gets down to about 40 degrees here, oh my, they're really upset about it. Uh, I think
Hmm.
I think I have seen around 33, maybe 32 a couple of times. Yeah, so here it's not cold and we never get snow. Occasionally we get some flurries, but it doesn't stay on the ground at all, right? Oh well,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Snow peoples. Of course, we're not really here talking about snow. And Britain is interesting because we're going to start off with Britain. They don't get hit with tons of snow either, and it's that Gulf Stream that kicks over there and keeps them warm. Probably also what creates a lot of their rainy and misty, foggy weather is probably that's the cause of it. But we're going to start with them because, oh boy, does it kicked off.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I've been saying it's going to kick off, or I'm surprised it hasn't gotten worse a decade ago, really, but it's been coming. Of course, the Irish have kicked off, but what's new? Um,
Yeah.
the Brits have kicked off full on, and of course, there's a lot of work coming out of the media to try to hush that up and not talk about it, right?
Hmm.
Now, but the thing in Britain is uh, there was already a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. And Keir Starmer came out and canceled elections. And the reason he did that wasn't to stymie reform, because they still technically, it isn't until 2028 till that election goes off. Even though they're trying to push it earlier, the reason he actually canceled elections is because he's under big pressure in his own party. People want to run against him because his numbers are kind of like the Chicago mayor guy, right? They're really bad. However, they'd also just put in their digital ID. Now, um, and of course, that kicked off, I mean, literally burning in the streets, right? But just to give you an idea, because they said that's for the children, Thundero. It's the it's for
Mm.
the children, right? But before that even went into effect, which was what, a couple of days ago, right? They already, just listen to this. They already got deals with the banks and set in a new consumer confidence law with the banks that if you don't have uh, a good standing in the public, then they are going to, because they have no confidence in you, are going to freeze your accounts. So what does that mean?
Mm,
That
steal your money.
means that's right. That means if you don't say exactly what you're supposed to say, they'll just shut your bank off. And the
Hmm.
banks got on board instantly. Like I said, even before the ink was dry, right? Already they got on board instantly with that, almost as if it was orchestrated. So don't believe the hype. It has nothing to do with the babies. Although I would assume Thunder and I kind of agree. I wish we had a little bit better system because there's a lot of crap the kids are getting access to. And one, it's hard for me, but I'd really rather the kids not be able to access social media until they were, say, I don't know, 30.
Honestly, I've been thinking about it, Chester, and if for some reason God bestowed upon me absolute authority over a country,
Yeah.
I would go full China and heavily regulate social media.
Well, that's what they're
It's a
doing.
it's a contagion.
It is.
It's a virus. It's like a virus in your brain, a disease, and what it does to young women specifically is nearly irreversible.
Yeah.
And
Um,
it needs to be stopped. I mean,
yeah.
just call it what it is. It needs to be
and
stopped.
and of course they tested this in China as they always do.
Hmm.
So we are getting, they're getting the China system. But of course, just as in China, what they're going to roll out next, of course, is a credit score system.
Yep.
And if you, because they're going to get pushback, and this is going to be their solution, right? And that solution is going to be so that, every time you say something you're not supposed to say, you get some points taken off your social credit score. And of course, you won't be able to use your money. But in China, you can't take trains or buses, or you can't access public libraries, hospitals, all kind of things like that. That's how they do. And of course, the West, particularly these wokies, would love to have that in place. They would love to
Yeah.
have that. But the point being is they put that into effect. The banks immediately capitulated. We're already having people being
Well, they were the
punished
ones pushing it. I'm
for
sure
the.
the
Of
banks were.
course, that's true. But we've already had people been punished already for the most inane things, and or benign, I should use that word even better, things. And of course, the British people have kicked off full
Yep.
on war with the police, burning down stuff, and yeah, I'm like, cool, get them, because it's out of control. We know what France is doing. We know what the Germans are doing. Germans now are reinstituting the draft. Did you know that?
I did not.
Because they need to increase the size of their army from 240,000 to 300,000 to deal with the Russians. You do realize your little piddly 400,000, 300,000 man army, the Russians, if they chose to, which they won't, but if they had chose to, they'd walk right over you.
Yep.
I mean, shit, their first year they killed more than that
Hmm.
of this 4-year war we're into, right? Coming up on 5, isn't it?
It
Uh,
is.
but that's become a whole money making system for Russia now, as many wars turn into, don't they? But I don't know. It's just out of control, dude. Britain, Australia's trying to put the same thing in. Although I don't. The Australians don't seem to have any heart, though. I don't know if you've noticed this. The British will at least bitch, and of course, look, as we see, they'll stand up. But the Aussies, I just don't feel like they have any heart. I feel like they're just going to get ran over, and there's nothing that's going to happen. There's not going to be any pushback whatsoever. Um,
Yep.
do you agree with that or disagree?
No, I agree with that. They're a slave people. The Aussies.
Yeah,
They always have
it's
been.
weird. The
Um,
Canadians are kind of I don't know which way it's going to go because they're going to do that as well. But of course, they're busy. Trump's got
mhm.
their hands tied right now. They're not doing any of this stuff because they're busy.
Well,
But
I don't think we would let him. I think he'd and probably impose sanctions on him if they tried this shit right on our border.
well, I wish they would
Uh,
impose sanctions on Britain.
he needs to. He
Yeah,
should. He should just do it. Just be like, no, 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 you're not going to do that. That we have certain values that you fucking created, Britain, that we have in our
right.
civilization, and you're
Isn't that
not going to
weird?
do this.
Yeah,
Period.
we've been soft rolling it so far, just saying, "Hey, you guys are going to lose your soul. It's you're dying." JD Vance has said very eloquently, whereas Donald Trump's, let me see if I can think of Donald Trump's quote. It's shit country.
That's why we like Trump, though. You know, no
Sure.
frills. It's
No
just you're just
frills
going to
at all.
get the truth out of him. What he thinks.
I have to say though, every time JD speaks, you become a little bit inspired. The guy was
JD
built
Vance
to be a
scares me.
politician, man. Yeah,
He scares me. He's too good.
yeah, he's
But
real good.
I'm waiting for the only trip he's got, and this is going to sound horribly racist, but I'll explain, is his wife. And the only reason why that's a trip is because he's supposedly this, big Catholic guy, and he's got a Hindu wife that won't convert. And that to me is a massive red flag. He can't even lead his own house. He can't bring her to his faith.
I get your point.
So,
I get your point.
so it's
Yeah.
like, is he phony? Is this whole thing phony? Because he can't even make the woman who supposedly loves him join him in Christ, and that is a huge whatever you want to say about Trump. You've never heard Melania speak out of turn about him once. You've never heard any of his
Well,
children do it,
yeah.
not once.
No.
They are in his house is in order.
It
It's in
is.
order, and Vance's isn't. That's all I don't know. Maybe it'll all be fine. I don't know. I don't know their dynamic, but just from the outside looking in, I don't like that. That's the one
Well,
thing, and it's not even a huge one because, like I said, it could just be the way it appears. But and he's raising his kids Catholic, from what I understand. Like he's raising
yeah.
his kids in
Well,
his
they're
faith.
in country, so yeah.
Yeah.
But
So we'll see.
understand this though. I mean, I get your point, but understand this: the Hindi are not really religious.
No, she is.
I
She actually
know,
is.
not really, dude. It's more like
She
it's much closer to the Japanese than it is to the Catholic in America. And let's be fair, Catholics aren't real religious people either,
Most of
right?
them, yeah.
If you
Some
want
are
to
though,
if you want to find a zealot in Christianity, you have to go to the Protestants. We know
or
this.
the Orthodox.
Yeah, the
Orthodox are
Eastern
pretty devout.
Orthodox. But
Yeah.
the Hindis it's a traditional thing, dude. It's all about tradition. They're not
Yep.
these crazy devout people with
But
incredible ethos. They're just not that way. The
but
Sikh, or
he is a Christian, and
he
in a
seemingly is, yeah.
Christian household,
Yeah.
she should follow him. And if he can't get her to do that, I'm not saying he's to force her to, but if she doesn't willingly do it, there's something wrong there. See what I'm saying? Like there's about his leadership. It's a thing. It's a
Well,
question of his leadership capability, not
it,
even his. If he was Muslim and it was the same thing, I'd have the same question.
right.
Like
But
there's certain red flags. They say like you want to know a man's character, look at his family, look at his children, especially his
sure,
children. How are his children behaving?
sure. But like I said, the Catholics aren't real either. I know.
Some of them are. It just
Eh,
depends. The uh,
eh.
the the mainstream Catholics, no, but there are branches here or there, like the ones who go to Latin mass and stuff like that. They're far more
Oh
actually
no, I
devout.
mean, of course you can find it, but you know what I mean. That is
I
the
do.
most color by numbers religion you could possibly have, dude. The Catholics.
Yes.
And at least they're Christian, color by
Ish.
numbers. Well, I'm just saying, at least it's that,
I'm curious.
because that's way better than being a color by numbers Muslim, which is for me an affront to reality. But I get your point. Here in Japan, of course, where I live, they have zero ethos, none. I mean, you ask the Japanese what happens when you die. Universally, they all say, "Oh, it's just oblivion. Not it ends." Right?
Yeah.
And you ask them, what does God look like, which they don't believe in, but they'll answer you, space, which is interesting.
Space. So
Yeah, space, meaning The great void is what would be what God looks like. It's a very interesting answer, actually,
Mm.
to kind of dig down
It
deep into
explains why
that.
they're so fatalistic.
They are fatalistic to the
Everything is
nth
nothing.
degree. That's true. No, they are. They are they are in a way nihilistic.
Yep.
They are. Now, you know, some people might blame it on America for conquering them. I don't believe that bullshit. I think they've
No.
always been that way. The
Yeah.
Asians, the Orientals here, they've never known freedom ever,
No.
right? They've always been under the boot. Where in the West, sure, we've had leaders and we've had some real bad tyrannical ones. But
Oof.
the Western people have always had that kernel of freedom in them, and they will revolt. And many times throughout history, the various rulers have had to try to put that revolt down, and sometimes they do, and quite often they don't. Just think about Charles,
Right.
not that long ago, and losing the power and getting the parliamentary system, right? I'm kind of surprised because they beat him so thoroughly that they didn't just get rid of the monarchy altogether. It is surprising that that took place, but I guess they all had a little soft spot for tradition. Whereas we know what the French did to their nobility. So, Robespierre. Anyway, don't get me on the history stuff. Just stop it, though. Just stop it. Anyway, my point being is, holy shit, it's really popping off. China is, I don't even know. I don't even know what to tell you about China, dude. It's just an absolute cataclysm. But at the same time, boy, they are pushing the capitalism to the, I mean, just wow, they're just pushing it. They're really trying to own the robotics world. But it'd be nice if they had a robot instead of an RC controlled thing. But they're all the outward signs, they're really pushing that, hey, we're doing great, we're amazing, even though literally inside the country there's fire and brimstone every day. So there's that. They're also, rattling the sabers against Japan, which why? But they do that anytime they want to try to distract attention amongst their own people, really. Southeast Asia is doing great. Korea is, their finances are collapsing, so we'll see how that goes. New Zealand at least seems to have a more, uh, you know, uh, conservative leadership that's come in, but their finances are so bad. I don't know if they can reverse it because they don't have much to reverse it with. So that's a problem over here in Asia. The Middle East, well, you know what that is. Africa, you have Sudan is there is no government there, so that's nice. Somaliland is probably much closer to being a country than Somalia. And of course, we know of the nonsense that's going on in America where we have all these Somalis telling us, "Oh, we're much better than you. You're just jealous of us. We have much more money than you. We're just so much better humans than the rest of you stupid white Americans." Which I don't know why. Why is it always the white Americans that have to take the burden of everything?
Because they're envious,
Yeah.
Chester.
Well, they tell us they're better than us, though. Of course, I would believe you more if it weren't for the fact that 88% of all Somalis in America are on welfare. I
Well,
might
if it
believe you
weren't for
more.
the fact that like 97% of every major invention of the last 1,000 years have been done by Europeans, we'll ignore that. We'll ignore that.
Well, it's longer
Um,
than that even. But
yeah, but my
um
point
but the
is
Nigerians, which their country is completely mess, they're murdering Christians on a daily basis. It's really, really bad. But the Nigerians in America are actually quite wealthy. They really
yeah.
are quite well. But you don't hear them talking though.
Well, no, because they don't want nothing to do with these people.
Well, I'm talking about
No,
anything. They're quiet.
well, they're working, busting that ass. Um, I was saying this to the wife the other day because we were talking about how it's always white people they whine about, and yet then they go on about they think we're white supremacists. White people all think they're better than everybody, when it couldn't be further from the truth. We're probably we actually have the data. We are the only group that doesn't think that way. We're
Well,
the only one.
I wish
Everybody else does.
can I
And But hang on, and the reason why they think that is because they're projecting their own insecurities. Because they all know that the white European man has dominated the globe for however long, and they can't stand it.
Yeah.
It's not because they're inferior, but they have an inferiority complex.
Sure, sure,
So
sure.
what they do is they look up to this and they're like, I hate that. But they can't,
Yeah.
their perspective is that we're superior to them, and then they just project that on us. Like we're over here like, no, we're cool, bro. We just want to chill. Why you
Yeah.
gotta be weird?
No, there's certainly truth to that, but my point would be, I wish we had a little bit more superiority complex.
Well, I think it's coming back. Have you talked to these young men? They are done.
Yeah.
They are absolutely done with being talked down to by people who themselves consider themselves inferior. They're done with it. And they should be. And I'm
Yeah.
glad to see it because I agree with you. I think white people need to stop being so afraid of their heritage. We are the greatest block, whether if you don't want to call it a race, fine. Greatest block of people by every metric to
Yeah.
ever exist on this planet that we know of. Uh, and there's no reason to be ashamed of that. Everybody else
Well,
needs to catch the fuck up.
yeah, and the reason is really, really simple. It's it's not about superiority at all. Matter of fact,
Correct.
the Whites, as they call us,
Hmm.
we've always been kind of the middle of everything. We're in the
Yep.
middle, right?
Hmm.
But what we are really good at is what has allowed us to be successful. I call, from an anthropological point of view, I call the Aryans more than the Celts, right? We understand the
Hmm.
difference, right? The West
Hmm.
Europeans and the Aryans, reindeer hunters, right?
Yep.
Because those Aryans, I call them the busy bees of history, right?
Yes.
Because they're constantly moving back and forth, trading with everybody, very charismatic. They're not ruling stuff. They're just trading and they're constantly moving and interacting and sharing and doing all that kind of stuff. And it's also probably why you saw the move of Neanderthal DNA from Asia into Europe is because of them, right?
Yep.
And because people thought for a long time the Neanderthal was a European story. No, 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 it's an Asian one. It's a Far East Asian one, actually.
Hmm.
But it's because of that movement and that, hey, how you doing, buddy? Want to buy something? That kind of attitude is why they've gained so much access and wealth. We do know that the bankers and the traders are, they might not be the ones out front on the camera, or the traditional idea of that, but they're the
Right.
ones that have all the power and the chutzpah, right? So that has a lot to do with it. But my point that I'm having with the situation is somebody has made a decision. I don't know who it is, that the white people need to be put down and dealt with. That's the
Yep.
reality. Now, you would
It's the
think it's
bankers.
yeah, but aren't the bankers supposed to be white people?
No, they're Jewish and they don't consider themselves white.
Oh, that's right. They bitch about that all the time, don't they?
They do. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
fine. I don't really care who wants to be in the club and who doesn't. That's fine. But no, we're not just going to roll over and die for you. And I think you're starting to see the pushback. There's a reason why
You are.
guys like your Nick Fuentes's and other guys like that are more and more popular, and it's not
Right.
going to stop.
Yeah.
It's simply not going to stop because what you were talking about, a little superiority, you could call it consciousness, a racial consciousness. It's a real thing. Every other race has it. Every single one. Only white people, for some reason, have decided about,
Well,
I don't know, 80 years ago or so after World War II, we all decided this was a grave sin and we're
yeah.
not allowed to have it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's preposterous. Every single person that lived before 1950, all of them agreed with the idea that the white race was a thing and it needs to be preserved or protected
Well,
in some way. Or they
you know,
agreed with the idea that our nations are important and basic
right.
family structure is important. There were certain things that if you went back to 1940 and just asked a man on the street, he would sound like the most radical right wing extremist today. And these were normal opinions up until about 10 minutes ago in history.
Right. But at the same time, though, we
Hmm.
also agreed that all the other groups around the world should be preserved too.
Correct. That's what
This
nationalism
is
is.
this is where our problem comes from because
Yes.
a lot of people have nationalism, as you put it, or culturalism or tribalism. right? Would be
Hmm.
it seems to be the preferred word for anthropology these days, tribalism.
Hmm.
But they don't acknowledge other people's rights to it. Most people in the world, they're like,
Right.
no, my I don't give a shit about you. It's my tribe, right?
Yep.
Whereas the whites, way more than any other group, have said, yes, we are an individual group, even though that's waned in recent years.
Hmm.
But we want to preserve all the different individual tribes.
Yes.
And this
And their
is,
history.
and
How
their
much of
history and
African
their
history
culture.
specifically would we not have, or not even Egyptian, if it wasn't for white people? Well, let's be
Oh,
real.
all of it.
All of it.
All of it. Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it matters to us, because
Yeah.
we for some reason, some defect in us, and I only say it's a defect because no one else seems to have it, uh makes
Well,
us
the
give a shit
Orientals
about
do.
that. Kind of. The Chinese don't seem to. They seem to be fine with destroying history. They've been doing it for a
Well,
while.
I guess you could say they got lucky with the Taiwanese who kept it, but the Indians
Yes.
definitely do. I mean, if you go
Yes.
to India and you'll ask them, what's your opinion on the Aryans? These reindeer
Oh yeah.
hunters. They'll say, well, that's where we come from, even though it's
Right.
not really true. I mean, it is kind of true. But they'll admit it. But the Indians are very interested in preserving their history, and
Yep.
good on them, right?
No,
But
they should be.
places
They have a
like,
beautiful history, actually. They just have a
oh,
shit country.
I think they probably have, what we see there is a remnant of something that has been lost in Egypt and Mesopotamia, actually,
Yes.
because we know that those three groups were trading vigorously with each other way, way back, right?
Yeah. Why
Um,
wouldn't they be?
yeah, well, of course, because it's all around the Indian Ocean, that area around the Gulfs and stuff.
Hmm.
But then you come to the Japanese, and they don't know their history at all. All they know is Tokugawa and
Right.
Sengoku Jidai and a couple little
Well,
moments
I
here. They
mean,
don't know anything, dude. It's
he was
completely
effective.
lost. He
He was
was,
effective,
and
old
of course,
Tokugawa.
but if he was even real.
Well, there's that old chestnut too. There's people who say those sorts of things about Caesar too. Like Caesar wasn't actually real. He was a uh, what's the word? Like an idol, basically, that was risen up so they could take power. But I don't know if it's true or not. Doesn't really
Oh
matter
no, there's
because
a lot of information for him being real.
yeah, I
But
know. I'm just
but
saying we don't. There's no way to know. You know what I
right.
mean? There's no way for us to know as solidly as I know tomorrow is Monday. There's just no way for
Well,
me to do that.
yeah, but I think the Japanese were heavily caught up, and maybe the fighting never ended, and that's what Sengoku Jidai is. But
Mm,
they were heavily caught up in the Tartarian movement, right? And once again,
probably.
I use this term because that's what I grew up with. That's what all the maps said, and it's what that word means for some of you. Because I know we all love conspiracy theories, right? It's fun. But
Hmm.
Tartaria, aside from what all the crazy Tartarian guys say, it's just a term that refers to Genghis Khan's conquest. That's it, right? Because he had basically a coup d'état over the Byzantine Empire, and he won, right? And his children and grandchildren continued on that legacy. And we just call that Tartaria until we get to a point, the Tartary, until we get to the point that it got blown up somehow, and the only thing that was left was the Western remnant, which we call the Ottoman Empire, right? It was a rebuilding. So we don't even know what happened. We just know it happened, right? But I think the Japanese got caught up in that a lot more than they realize, and they don't want to know, to be fair, right? And I've said this before, but because dealing with Asia over here, and their different history and different understanding and different psychology. Like Korea, they're real touchy about everything. But like I'm
Hmm.
telling you, I'm pretty sure Korea was a slave farm for the Jewish Cathay slave traders, in which Cathay is just kind of to the north of Korea and what we call China today. But it was called Cathay for a long time, and it was run by Jews, but they're not there now. So what happened? Did they murder them out? Did they breed in, or did they just leave because everything collapsed and they went back to their money in the West? Right? I would say the latter is probably more likely. But so the situation here in Asia is very different. as far as the psychology goes. But in the West, we've always pushed back against tyranny. We always have, at the cost of incredible amounts of blood and sweat. But it is very interesting what's going on in Ireland and in Britain, particularly because if you look at a lot of stuff, as a normal person, most war throughout history is fought by professional soldiers. It's one army against another. Sure, there might be civilians get caught in the movement of it here or there. It, of course, happens. But in general, pretty much all war is between soldiers, professional soldiers. You don't have hardly any examples of an entire country rising up to fight something. That's just not how it works. It's all governmental shifts, right? And therefore, when we think of these moments in the past where we do have public outcry and uprising, and you get just incredible amount of murder in the streets and politicians drug out and hung up from the tree branches and all that kind of nonsense, we, the normal people, we look at that and we're like, wow, wow, they must have been vicious people back in the day. They weren't modern. But then you look what's happening in Britain right now and you realize, oh, that's why.
Yep.
You can see it because a lot of times we see reenactments or we read a history of something and modern people like, how did that happen? That's so violent. It's so angry. I can't even imagine doing that. Right.
Hmm.
And we have that thought in our heads, and therefore we consider ourselves to be more advanced, more pure, because they must
Yeah.
have just been animals. But no, no, no. You can see why. You can see
Yep.
why when it pops off like that, and you get infuriated because I am absolutely infuriated as what's going on in Britain, and I don't know why. Because fuck Britain,
Well, because they're our parent,
they
they're our
are,
old dad,
they are.
and we're like somebody's abusing our old dad, and no one's doing anything to stop it. Uh, and I honestly think if we can somehow right the ship in this country, which it's looking even more glim every single day, or gloomy every single day, but if we somehow can, we're going to have to invade Britain to save it. That's
No,
just the
we are in
reality of it.
Sweden
They
too.
have
Yeah,
nukes. They got fucking nukes. We can't. We can't. What are we doing? What are we doing
yeah.
here? We
No,
can't
it's
play
not
around with
good.
that.
It's not good. And with that, coming into America, we know Central and South America I'm not going to get into the details, but there's good and bad. Argentina, Milei has had a lot of success. Good for that dude. Africa's a shithole. It's just war, right? But America, Mamdani, new mayor of New York, comes in January. Starts in January. Would you like to guess the very, very first bill and governmental thing they're going to tackle day one? The very first thing. Now, keep in mind, this guy's talking about free food, free buses, well, just free everything, right? Free everything for the peoples, unless you're white, then you can fuck off, right? But do you know? Would you like to guess the very first thing they're going to do day one? Would you like to know?
Hmm.
Give themselves more money.
Excellent. Excellent.
Just let that hang there. The very first thing they're going to tackle is about making sure they have more money because $200,000 a year, it's just not enough for government workers. It's just not enough. They need more. And of course, in New York, that's probably true. But you ask, why do you need more money? Oh, that's right, because your freaking taxes and all of your controlling laws that you put in place that just make it impossible to do business. But that's the very first thing they're going to do. The very first thing. How absolutely socialist of him, right? I mean, unbelievable. And of course, you have the situation over in California. I hear a lot of you Americans are doing pretty good with gas prices. What's your local gas price?
Oh, I didn't pay attention, but it's getting under like, I think it was around 250. It's
Yeah.
getting that's low though for what it was from what it was.
Oh, sure.
If Trump can get it back under $2 a gallon, I'll be
Well,
happy.
it
It
is.
should be.
It is under $2 in several places, but the
Good.
average is around 242, I think it was, or something like that. So it is coming down. It's come down quite a bit, and of course we know how important that is because everything is built upon energy costs, right? So lower energy costs, lower cost of everything, right? However, uh, California hasn't shifted. It's still around $8, right? A little under, 7 something, right? And would you like to know why?
Why is
Well,
that?
it's because um, in California, you see, they have a rule that their gas needs to be super clean, and they make a type of gasoline that only they make. Now, there's a couple places, Korea particularly, that has retooled to try to supply that, but in general, they can't get normal fuel because it's against their law. It has to be more refined, right? Therefore, more eco, I guess. And of course, this affects Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada because they get a lot of their fuel coming in through them, and they've been stuck on this type of fuel too because they've made themselves reliant on California. But California, the problem is they have many refineries that are shutting down or have already shut down. There's a big one coming up, shutting down here in a few months. A big, big one, Phillips 66, is shutting down in California completely, right? So they have nowhere to refine fuel. They have incredible taxes on it. They require a higher type of gasoline than other Americans would use. And keep in mind, our gas is pretty clean compared to most places in the world, right? As far as purity goes. And of course, uh, therefore, what they have to do is import more instead of have it inside the country, inside California. But the problem is the foreign refineries can't keep up with what California wants. And then you have that other, what is it, the MORE Act? I think that's what it's called, the MORE Act, that has restrictions on moving fuel between states. I don't remember all the details of it, but it's a dumb rule that I'm sure Democrats put in to keep their fuel prices high. I think intentionally because I don't know why they want that. But they want that. But California can't fix the problem. They can't. Therefore, they're going to be hovering around that $7, $8. Some people suggest a further $2 in premium cost. Therefore, $10 a gallon while everyone else is around two something. Mm.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So my question would be, why would you be a business person in California at all? Why not just leave? Well, because they put in a law that if you try to leave the state, I'm not even talking about business, just a person, they're going to start fining you and taking extra tax out of you for a certain amount of time. Now, I would hope that if they actually tried to imply that, the federal government, in this case under Donald Trump, would say, no, 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 that none of that. But who knows? Because that's what they're doing. California is holy crap out of control, dude. Now we know we have states like Mississippi and New Mexico that are just dirt poor because they can't manage their shit at all. Well, we get that.
Yep.
But
Hmm.
California is self-inflicted wounds, dude.
No, they're not going to stop.
That's insane, right? The whole country, and that includes New York, has dropped incredibly in fuel costs, but California won't because California can't. I don't know.
They cannot. They
No,
can't get. They can't stop tripping over their own dick. It's funny when the Californians start talking about we're going to secede from the union. We'll be a rich country. Uh huh.
please
Go ahead.
do
Try
that.
it. See
Yeah,
what
please.
happens.
I'd love
Do
that.
that.
That'd be great.
That would break zero hearts,
Yeah. No,
except
bye
your own.
bye. 100%.
Except your own. Well, because let's say, okay, say they secede. Okay, so all the military bases and stuff in California. Uh, well, what happens to those? And two, they're going to have nothing. They're going to okay, they'll have some money, but they're not going to have a military. They're not going to have any way to get a military, so they're still going to need the United States military, like everybody in this hemisphere does, to
Yeah.
protect them.
Yeah.
So, what's your What's your sovereignty going to really look like when we're the ones with all the guns, you dummies?
Well, because we've relied so heavily on China to produce our goods,
Hmm.
California is just by default the fifth largest economy on earth. But of course, every year they're in the red, though, which is interesting, right? They can't balance their budget whatsoever because they spend it on frivolous nonsense things. And of course, to be fair, I think most of it's just going in people's pockets, right? Which we know is an issue. U.S. aid was a good example of this. And then, of course, the current controversy going on in the country is that Trump administration, through I think it's Agriculture Department, isn't it? Is saying, look, you 21 states, we asked for information on the detail of welfare that is coming from us to you. We want to balance our data to your data, right? Pretty pretty simple request, really. I mean, the federal government's the one giving you the money. Why shouldn't they know exactly where it's going? It's pretty simple. And of course, 29 of the states were like, sure, here you go, right? And they found some mistakes and errors and they're cleaning it up. But only one of those 21 states have we found our way into looking at some of the problems by accident. And of course, that's what is that, Minnesota, with the big Somali fraud that's going on. But 21 of these states have refused. So the Trump administration is like, well, if you're not going to give us information, then we're not going to give you these fundings. I mean, obviously, it's a pretty simple request. With the federal government is giving you money for this thing, you have to have your due diligence, please. But they refuse and they say it's heartless, it's cruel, it's a privacy, whatever nonsense they can come up with. But Yeah, I mean, I hope. Of course, federal judge tried to block it, but it's not gonna stay. It's going to get overthrown, and I hope he sticks to it because Trump seems to be a little more pissy these days, and I like a pissy Trump, and I
Yeah,
hope.
he was going off the rails there a little bit for about a month, but it seems like a month or two. It seems like he's finally got himself back on the right track.
Well, the
And what
guy's got to be
happens with
tired,
Trump?
dude. I mean, Jesus, come on.
It doesn't. I don't know if he ever gets that way. What happens with Trump is he gets the wrong people in his ear,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, he's just very. It's because he's actually not a bigot, like they call him. He's
No,
actually
he's
very
too
open-minded.
nice. He's too
Yeah,
nice.
he's too open to the idea that there's a better way or a different way. Uh,
Because he's a
so what
liberal.
happens? Yes, what happens is he gets these people in his ear, and he's like, all right, we'll try that, and then he just run. He will not give up on it until he's run it into the ground, and then he'll back off. And what the liberals see is that they think that he's a moron because he runs an idea into to death. But the reality is that's just how he's always been. He's always been that guy. He'll ride something until ride it till it
Right.
bucks him. And that's a great benefit when it works, and it's a terrible, terrible character trait when it doesn't. And he was on this whole kick about, and they're still talking about it, but I don't know about like the H-1B visas and all that stuff. That whole program needs completely shuttered because it's just rife with corruption.
Well,
But
it is getting
regardless,
so. Yeah, there's
it,
been a lot of pushback on that. Fair enough, right?
regardless, he was the Epstein stuff. Like, there's just been a few times, which the reality is, I agree with him. I've been very clear. Yeah, sure, it'd be nice to know everybody on that list. By the way, we already know it. The list has been out there for years. I don't know why people are pretending it hasn't. But regardless, uh, it doesn't matter. The truth of the matter is, here's the truth of the universe. The public doesn't care. They just don't care. They don't care that 9/11 was probably all bullshit. They don't care. They don't care that the Gulf of Tonkin, which led to the death of 58,000 Americans and millions of East Asians, they don't care that that was a lie. They don't care about any of it. The truth of the matter is,
Lusitania?
look,
We go
the
back that far?
Lusitania, the JFK assassination, aliens, all these things that were conspiracy theories for so long, years, decades, and it's all coming out, and everybody's like, yeah, they don't care.
No.
It's an unbelievable fact of humanity that the only thing that the group, the mob, can focus on isn't love, it's always hatred. And if
Yeah.
the thing that the revelation doesn't spark hatred, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The Romans understood this. This is why they came up with bread and circuses.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
was to distract them.
The mob.
Everybody, yeah, the mob, distract the mob. And the mob is distracted. They don't care. They don't care that 9/11's bullshit. They don't care that the Iraq wars were bullshit. They did for a while. They got a little angry, and then they just didn't care anymore. Uh, Nobody cares about that stuff. And the truth of the matter is, as much as people want to, flagellate about Epstein, you don't really care.
I don't
Nothing,
care at all.
nothing's going to really happen to these people because most likely most of them didn't do anything illegal. That's the scary
No,
thing.
that's
That should be the thing you're upset about,
well,
is
and
that
that
it's a bunch of do about nothing.
well, that's right. And the whole Epstein thing is really irritating because you and I and everyone listening and anyone who pays any attention knows right well that bad things happen to children under elites. We know this is
Yes,
true. But
this is
the
a fact.
Epstein thing hasn't given me one shred of evidence that that was going on. And I
No.
don't understand. People keep saying it, but I'm like, well, where's the information? If it's true, great. Let's get on it. But that's not what I've seen. The only information I see is 16, 17-year-olds, which
Hmm.
the world doesn't care about that, dude. The world
No.
cares about 10 years old, 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds,
Right.
12-year-olds,
Kids,
maybe
children.
kids. But yet I haven't seen anything with Epstein. People keep saying, well, it's true. All right, great. Let's see it and let's understand who was doing what. Because Andrew, right? Prince Andrew, right? Who
Yes.
William is scoriating, I must say.
Good.
It is good.
He
But
should
what?
he should actually excoriate the flesh off of his bones for being a pedophile
Well, fair
when he
enough.
becomes king.
But his interaction with Epstein, however, is involving like 16, 17-year-old girls. That's the accusation. It's not little kids. Now, he's been accused of that with in other places, but with the Epstein thing, it's I have seen zero evidence of that. And I'm like, well, why don't I see it? Why hasn't that been made clear that we have evidence of this 12-year-old, this 10-year-old? We don't need names. We don't need detail. But why
Hmm.
don't I have the information that this is what was going on to actual children? And I have seen none of it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen none of it. And they keep beating this dead horse. And that's why I saw Trump get frustrated about it because he's got the same thing in his head I do, I think. He's like, why do you people keep going on about this Epstein shit? And I
Yep.
get why he says that,
Yep.
right? Because
But the
Epstein, yeah,
problem
is a piece of
is,
shit. But I mean, is that really what's going on? If it is, let me
well,
see.
and he's also dead, allegedly, right? Allegedly, according to everybody, all the credible sources, he's dead.
Yeah,
I don't know if I buy that personally, but yeah, who knows? Uh, Regardless, the problem is that he ran on it, and all of his people in his
sure,
administration were talking about it and
sure.
wouldn't shut up about
I
it, kept
get it.
making a spectacle about it. This was a self-inflicted wound, and
Sure,
that's what I'm talking about. When Trump gets on something, he just stays on it,
he
and he
does.
won't let it go
Yeah,
until basically the base chimps out, freaks out like a bunch of band of chimps, and then eventually they relent and they go like so. The course correction that he made with the migration stuff, the immigrant stuff, is he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to ban people from third world countries. I love it.
yeah,
Why is I love this. This is great. This
yeah.
is the great decision. Because one, we don't need those people. I understand America needs people. We do. We need the best of the best. These aren't the best of the best. I know it's a harsh reality for liberals to hear, but some people are just pieces of shit, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you love them and how many resources you give them, they're not going to get any better because they are not because of their race, but because of reality, genetically inferior. They're just stupid, and
Well,
they're not getting smarter.
well, okay. Well, we'll leave that to you. But
Hmm.
now Epstein, just to kind of go in order, Epstein might well be dead because he was holding water for other people, and therefore he's a burnable asset. So let's be fair,
Yep.
right? As far as the immigration thing, I have no problem with what you just said. However, he is doing one other thing that is unprecedented, though: denaturalizing citizens.
Well, it's not that unprecedented. Lincoln did it. Uh,
Yep.
I love it though.
Okay.
It's time. I'm very clear that I don't want a soft. I want a hard leader. I want somebody who's willing to protect the nation. America is a nation of Americans, not a race, a nation. We used to be a dual racial country for the most part. There was other people here too, but it was by and large just black and white. Now we have a whole hodgepodge of people in this damn country, all over the damn place.
Mhm.
That's fine. That okay, whatever. But they're still Americans, and they have to be what comes first. So if you have to denaturalize some people who are out here saying some bullshit, then
And
get them out of here.
being criminal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get them
no,
out of here.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just saying that that is an extreme measure.
Well, the
But yeah,
extreme measure would be just to kill them. Like that would be what in
well,
history what would have happened. People out here acting like traitors. I saw this one interview of this girl who has her papers.
that is
She
true
had to
though.
have taken the oath. You know, the oath that they all take, the Declaration of Allegiance to the United States. And she's talking about she has more allegiance to Colombia where she's from.
Sure.
Just hang her.
Well, the Somalis
She's a
do that as
traitor.
well. Yeah.
These are
There,
traitors. What are we doing?
dude, there's a lot of treason and sedition going on. This is true.
Yeah.
And Alan is correct. Bill Clinton was a hard leader. He was. He was.
That's a different kind of hard.
Yeah.
No, I think the American people, enough of us have come to realize we either checked out of the political system, which I largely have. I only check it out, see stuff on Twitter every now and then. But largely I just don't care because I'm the same position. Wake me when we get to Caesar. When we get to somebody who's serious. Trump's not serious enough. He should be way more serious. These motherfuckers tried to kill him.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers violated his own wife in their sanctity of their home. Now, granted, their home's a giant, palace, but still,
Yeah.
that was still her
It's kind
house.
of like a hotel, really.
Yeah.
But no, I get your point. And I think a lot of people wish
What do
that.
you
And
think Julius Caesar would have done if they did that?
oh,
Somebody did that shit to his wife or his
I
woman.
I wouldn't even. I'd just go with Octavian.
Yeah, oh, there you go. There'd be some blood, a spilt, a lot of it.
Well,
It would run.
one of my, there's a lot of great because Caesar actually was much closer to Trump than you think in
I
the way
know.
he dealt with the world. But Octavian, now that is different. I'll give you an example. After he took power, right? He came in, he gave a speech to the Senate, and it was very flowery and like, we're going to save the republic and all the things you're supposed to say as a politician, of course. Even though he was very
Hmm.
young, he was very savvy and extremely eloquent, right?
Hmm.
Smart boy. That's why Caesar adopted him. He saw it.
Super genius.
He was like, oh, this one here, I'm going to keep this one, right?
We're having
um,
that
but
one.
but after all that flowery speech and stuff like that, he came up and he says that he wanted Brutus and all the other conspirators to be named illegal, right?
Right.
And therefore to be hunted. And of course,
Outlaws.
he was advised right in the Senate that, oh, well, there's a lot of people here that supported them. You got to divide the Senate, and he told that person to shut up and move away from him, which is the
Right.
first
Get out of here.
harsh thing he said. Then he stood up because he was sitting and he was just indoctrinated as counsel, right?
Hmm.
Then he stood up and he said he gave a speech about how his father was murdered and how people in this very hall were the ones that supposedly his friends that back yada yada yada. He went through this big
Right.
old speech, and whilst he's talking, the frickin' royal guard come walking in behind him and drew their
Praetorians.
swords. Right, the
Yeah.
Praetorians, yeah, and
Let them
drew their
know.
swords. And then when the last thing he said in that speech, and he says, "So, well, is anyone going to oppose this?"
I love it. Jester, it's a sad reality, but freedom is only for the righteous. Only the righteous can be free. We're not a righteous people anymore. We lost that.
Yeah.
We lost it when we allowed our governments to drag us into wars to kill a bunch of brown people over nothing. We lost it when we allowed our government to lie to us while they ran endless experiments on us of various degrees, whether they were medical or social, and we did
Right.
nothing about it. We lost it when we allowed them to drag us into a war to kill a bunch of people over in Asia. We have lost it repeatedly over the last century, maybe longer. It's just the facts. There are some righteous people still here, but the American people aren't a righteous people anymore.
No.
And because of that, we don't deserve freedom. Like Benjamin Franklin said, we've given you a republic if you can keep it.
Yep.
That's what he meant.
Yep.
And he was a degenerate, but at least he had enough conviction to hide it. He wasn't.
he
He
was a
wasn't out here
degenerate.
being a public.
Well, Speaking of Ben Franklin, remember how it was years ago. They found all of those bodies and bones and stuff in the basement of his London home because he was over there a lot doing politicking, right? And of
Yep.
course, it turned out to be because that whole Mary Shelley Frankenstein thing was based on reality, right? And it was just a medical student who was getting illegal cadavers to practice on in his rooms in the basement, is what it turned out to be. But you remember all the chaos that came out and all the accusation that was against Ben Franklin trying to destroy
Yeah.
his name. And of course, didn't stick. But that was a funny thing because it's kind of hard to smear a person like Ben Franklin because he is very much like Prince Andrew.
Mm.
I'm sure he got up to nasty things, dude. Nasty things. But
Probably.
yet, you're right. His words were the right words. Fair enough. Anyway, there's our round the world in geopolitics. It hasn't improved at all. It's gotten worse. Europe is full on fire, and the Americans are like, "Hey guys, you really need to stop. Hey guys." And fair enough. I like what the Trump administration is doing because we have our own problems. We can give a word to them that you need to fix your stuff, but we got to fix our own stuff. So I'm
Yep.
I'm cool with it, but I really hope, yeah, that's right, Hellfire Club, Benji. I really hope that we're able to knock this down because it's hard for me to believe that Democrats could win any serious election coming up, but you never know. There's a lot of stupid people in America, dude, and a lot of people who have no honor. They have no self-reflection, and they just gimme, 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 right? They're hooked on the socialism, and of course we're seeing cracks all across the board in socialism because it cannot be maintained.
Right.
That's the big thing. And Japan is seeing this because they have a lot of socialistic programs. They don't have a
Hmm.
lot of the social issues, but if you don't have a population that is forever growing, you cannot maintain socialism. You need to
Right.
always have a growing population to do that. And of course, what's the one thing we're seeing happening across the world is population
Everywhere.
decline. And that
Even India.
includes India, yeah, Africa.
Yeah.
It's not what you think it is. This is a worldwide phenomenon. Um, and
Which
that and therefore you cannot maintain socialism. You can't.
I think the reason being is because I personally believe there is a God. I believe He set up certain boundaries and confinements
Maybe.
for all of reality, and one of those confinements is the push pull, the
Mm,
reciprocity of the physical reality we live in.
right.
For some reason, humans have this idea that we're outside of it, that the things we build and make, whether it be our countries, our economies, our families, are outside of this. We can just grow forever. Well, that's not reality.
Nope.
Nothing in reality grows forever.
Yeah.
Everything retracts eventually,
Yeah.
and I think that's what we're seeing now. I think we're seeing a perfectly natural retraction of humanity after a boom period. Because remember, 120 years ago, whatever it was, when fertilizer was invented, there was a massive boom all over the world
Yeah.
of population. That was, I mean, that's a unique thing. Well, not super unique, but it's a unique for how big it was thing. The only reason we have the number we have now is largely because of that invention and others that came after it. So these things are all new ish. They're definitely new in the course of history. And because of that, you saw a century of continuous rapid expansion. I think we're in for a century of continuous, whatever the opposite of expansion is. I can't think of the word. Decreasing, I guess. I don't know.
Decline.
I think decline. I think we're in for a century of that in numbers as far as population. But how we're going to supplement that, I think this is just the truth of it, is through machines,
Yeah.
robotics.
Just so you know, the fertilizer thing is more mid 20th century, not 19th century. Although we've been using
Oh,
manure-based farming for since day one.
mid 20th centuries would be about 100 years ago, Josh. That's what I said.
Holy
It's
shit,
almost
you're right.
2030.
God, I'm getting old.
I know it's crazy to think that like 1920 was 100 years ago. That doesn't even me, and I was born in the 80s. Even me, I'm like, really? That doesn't seem right. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, it was.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, that boom, especially at the post World War II boom, was a
Yeah,
real serious thing. And of course, America raised every ship. Keep in mind, with the Monroe Doctrine, we literally raised the entire planet up out of the muck, closer to our level. We literally did this for decades and decades and decades. That's the powerhouse that is the American economy. And people don't seem to understand that because you get a lot of countries saying, well, America's not so great and all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, you're not even close. You're not even close. You're not even a fraction of America. None of you are. Not even the Germans and the Japanese. You're not a fraction. And of course, with the thing with China, and we're seeing moving to Southeast Asia, is if you want to maintain this kind of socialistic structure, other than growing your population, you can do it also through very cheap labor. But the problem is, you have all these bleeding hearts that want we need to help and raise up the world, which the Monroe Doctrine did. If you really want to do that, you need to have poor bastards that get paid pennies on the hour. That's
right.
the only way to do it, or do it yourself in a successful way, like the Americans did during that boom period. Because we weren't pulling in resources from outside the world, we were giving them resources, and we
Right.
were getting it done, and that's why America just took off like a rocket. And I still, to this day, think that the atomic age style is way cooler than this ugly crap we got today.
Oh, it is absolutely 100%. I'll take that any day. I'd also
Yeah.
take the Art Deco style. I take
Yeah.
all of it.
Well, Art
Um,
Deco is don't get me in that conversation, dude.
I still would take it over this bullshit because this is some bullshit we got now.
It,
Everything's square and
it
rectangular.
is
What the
ugly.
fuck?
Well,
When did
let's
we forget about curves? What happened?
let's take a moment then, since we talk before we get into our entertainment side here. Um, what the hell is going on with the automotive industry, dude?
Good things.
No bad things, dude.
Well, not over
It's
here. Did you
it.
not see what Trump did?
Well, okay. Did he do something good? Go ahead.
He did. So it's longer than Biden, but Biden reinforced it. There was a program or an act. I don't think it was an act. I think it was just a policy called Cash. And basically, long story short, what this did is, you know how everything in America, the vehicles just keep getting bigger. They're
And
just
more
bigger
expensive, yeah.
and more expensive. They have all these features that nobody really asked for, but they have them now. Like every car has to have a backup camera and shit like that. Well, I don't know if that's in Cash, but a lot of these regulations about cars are why they're so expensive,
Right.
why they're huge for no reason. Like trucks are massive, just regular trucks are humongous for no reason. And the reality of it is, everybody I know would love a small. Remember the old Ford Rangers or the S10s, the small ones?
Sure.
Everybody would love one of those again because they're just nice little zippy trucks. If you live in town, you can. If you're out in the country, yeah, you need a bigger truck. But if you live in town, you don't necessarily need one that big. You just need something
No,
with a
I
nice six
owned an
foot bed.
S10 actually.
Yeah, so did I. And I just owned a Ranger a few years ago, an old one. Um, but my point is, Trump has now directed the American auto industry. Removed all the regulations that they said they wanted him to, so they can start making small vehicles again. And that's a good thing because one, small vehicles will be cheaper. That's a good thing. Two, they'll also be easier to manage. It's much easier to build things around, more compact stuff than it is these giant freaking honking tanks that people are driving
Why
nowadays.
was the policy to make bigger vehicles? What was that all
Well,
about?
because it was emission standards and things like this, so they had to make these engines humongous, so that they would meet the standards. And in order to do that, that means they have to have bigger vehicles overall.
Right.
Uh,
That are
that so like even my
ridiculously
car,
expensive and break constantly. It's so bad, dude.
constantly. So even my car, mine's a 2017 Ford Fusion Luxury Edition. It has all the bells and whistles, but it has a really big engine cavity. It doesn't
Hmm.
need one. It doesn't have a big engine in it. It's not fast. It's not a sports car.
Right.
But it has one because it has to. That's the regulation. And they're getting rid of that kind of stuff. They're rolling it back. And he just straight told them just recently, basically giving you the green light. fire up the factories. Let's get small vehicles again. One of the
Yeah.
things that it does, remember that truck I told you about, that Toyota one?
Hmm.
It allows Toyota, if they want to bring it to this market because they weren't allowed to. If they want to, it's not the little K trucks. It's an actual truck, but it's like an old Ranger. It's about that size.
Right.
Uh, and it would allow them to bring it here. And I know I've seen people who have fleets of vehicles, whether they're farmers or whatever, who have said I would buy 10 of them right now if I could, just because
Right.
I don't need a giant truck.
Right.
I just need a
No.
truck.
Right. And the car, you could buy four of them for the price of a standard truck these days
Oh,
anyway.
easily. Yeah,
Um,
easily.
but yeah, no, in Japan, I don't have these problems because the vehicles here actually work really, really well like they used to. We
Well, that
don't
would be
have
another big
problems.
bonus. If these are Toyotas, you're going to get good engines. They're going to last a long time.
Oh God.
That's a good thing. Now, Ford engines are really, really good. They're truck engines. They last a really long time. But still, it would let Ford do it too. They can start making real Rangers again. Not the They brought the Ranger back a couple years ago, but it's basically just an F-150 that's slightly smaller. It's not really a Ranger, and everybody's just like, we
Well,
want the Ranger. That's what we
it's
want you to do.
it's the electrical systems that are a problem. And keep in mind, Ford
Yeah,
is the recall king. Okay.
they are.
And the problem with it is these little computer sensor, like a sensor. Would you like to guess how much one of these sensors costs these days?
Oh, it's outrageous. It's astronomical.
$2,000.
Yeah. And you don't need that sensor. That sensor doesn't make the vehicle run better. It doesn't make the
Well,
vehicle
but
run
the
at
vehicle
all.
won't run without it though because of the electrical systems they put in it.
This is one
And
of the things that gets rid of because
right,
that's where that came. That wasn't an industry decision. That was a regulation decision
right.
because of emissions and bullshit like that.
I,
Efficiency.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I remember I had an old Cougar, Mercury Cougar, the old ones, right, 60s, and love that little car actually. But I actually had an oil sensor that had gone out on me, right?
Hmm.
And so I've actually bought a sensor before. There are many in your car, of course. There's more now than there's ever been, more than you need. But I remember buying that sensor. Now, fair enough, this was in the 80s, but I think I paid 50 cents for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But the automotive industry in America is in very bad straits, dude. They can't sell. There are vehicles that have been on the
That's
lot
why
for years.
they're too
The EVs,
expensive.
the too expensive. The EV stuff has been whole-handedly rejected by the people, and
Well,
those
it's just
things
there's
are rotting.
the only real reason, the main reason is because they're just completely inconvenient compared to a gas car.
Yep.
It's just so much easier to go to. There's gas stations fucking everywhere. It's so much easier. The
Roger.
problem, this is what happened. If they were going to make this big electric vehicle push, they needed to set their infrastructure, the groundwork
Well, there
first.
was well the but
You already have all this groundwork for the internal combustion engine everywhere,
well,
right?
but Judge
You
was
don't have
supposed to do
this.
that.
Well, yeah, we only gave them $1 trillion to set that
Right,
up, and then
but
oopsie.
and he built one.
That's well, I mean, you got one done. That's pretty good, right? For $1 trillion, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That sounds like liberal math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, no, it's outrageous. But that's the reason. If they had, you would see a lot more early adopters, a lot more adaptation. It's kind of like when the cars first came out. It took decades before they became what we understand as cars. Like they were a novelty for rich people. They weren't
They
something
were
everybody had.
initially. It was Henry
Yeah,
Ford is the one who solved that problem for the
yeah.
whole planet. That's true. And of course, a lot of people don't understand until the late 60s, 70s, really.
Hmm.
Most of the planet was doing scooters and motorcycles. They didn't have
Yep.
cars because they couldn't afford it. Their economies were still healing, and which we were healing. And it wasn't until the Japanese came out with their little cars that this started going on. And of course, the British came out with the Mini, and that now the whole world is a car culture. But that wasn't true. It was
Right.
mainly just America for a very, very long time. But then again, well, that's a long. I'm not going to get into that. That's a long conversation. But the point being is, these car companies, particularly the American ones, but it's not just them. Um, their vehicles are shit. They break down constantly. Their engineer obsolescence is a real thing, and the time frame in it has been reduced down to literally months now, right? It's insane. I just last night, for instance, had a little thing break off in my refrigerator. That is kind of important because it causes the seal to fold over, right? So I got to get it fixed. We took out all the paperwork. My warranty ended a month ago, right?
Amazing.
Engineered
Amazing.
obsolescence, amazing.
Yep.
But at least
Which
it
should be
was
outlawed.
10 years.
That should be outlawed. Engineered obsolescence shouldn't be permitted if it can be, there should, I'd be fine with the government watchdogging the shit out of that
Yeah.
because it's not, it's just, it's predatory. Let's
Well,
call it what it is. It's fucked up. It's completely unnecessary because we have all sorts of perfectly functioning, let's just say, appliances from the 50s and 40s that's still out there. People are using them right now today. So it's completely unnecessary. The only reason it's done is because they want to make more money. They don't make money off of you keeping something for 30 years. They make money off of you flipping it every 5.
that's right.
And that's fucked up.
And
That
for
shouldn't be
everything,
allowed.
for everything. And of course, we know
Yeah.
of all our plastic crap. Now, keep in mind, back in the early 50s and beyond, there were a group of socialists. They were socialists, not communists. We had plenty of those too. But there were a bunch of socialists that were really, really pushing that we should lean into more or return to really a more resource based economy. Now, what does that
Hmm.
mean? You're like, well, we got lots of resources. Yeah, but we don't focus on the resource, we focus on the profit, right? Now,
Right.
they're socialists, so, there's that. But they weren't really wrong, though. If we had a resource-based economy, what would that mean? It would mean that everything you buy would be built to last forever. It won't because entropy is a thing.
Right.
However, they were built to last a very long time. And this was a strategy for a more vibrant society, which I know is weird for me saying this, but I don't disagree with it, right? Because we've
Hmm.
got to the point now that that 6 months after buying an $80,000 truck, you have to bring it in for $10,000 of repair.
Yep.
It's insane. And of course, because of this obsolescence that they put in, then it's not completely managed. What happens is these companies have an insanely high amount of warranty repair they have to do. But the problem is, if you might not know this, but say you want to be a mechanic and work for one of these dealerships, right?
Hmm.
Say Ford, since we were talking about Ford. Would you like to guess how much it costs you to be able to do that job? Cost you to do that job?
I don't know how much.
$20,000 to have the correct equipment, which you must purchase. They also you're paid pretty low money, and dealerships really don't care about mechanics. They're all about salesmen. You and I both know this because we both
Yep.
sold cars, right?
Hmm.
And the problem is you get all these mechanics that don't want no part of it. Why would you want to take a job that you have to spend 20 grand on? You're going to get lower monies than if you went and worked for just a garage, and you're going to be treated like shit by a dealership. Of course, no one wants to, so they don't even have anywhere near the amount of mechanics they need just to do their own recalls.
Right.
And we got this current situation going on with some kind of monitoring sensor problem they're having with the engines are basically shutting down, because what they did was they were like, all right, well, if you're driving along on a normal thing, you don't need all 6 or 8 cylinders, so we're going to shut half of that down by via computer, and therefore you'll get better fuel mileage. All these companies, even the Asian ones, took on these engine types, right? But the problem is those things fail a ridiculously high level. And it got to the point that just the other day, a week ago, right? Ford said, we can't repair these things. Therefore, they're voiding warranty.
Hmm.
Lawsuit, anybody? I mean, lawsuit incoming, right? And so it's really really ridiculous how bad it is, dude. They can't these vehicles don't run well. They break down constantly, not only because of their over engineering, but because of their planned obsolescence. They don't have the mechanics necessary to fix anything, and this is across the board, by the way. And the dealerships could give a shit because they can't even move product. You have vehicles that have been sitting on lots for upwards of 800 days, dude.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's so radically bad. No one's really talking about it, dude. It's bad, 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 real bad. And telling you, you're going to see the biggest collapse of the automotive industry you've ever seen. And you're telling about Trump's action. Well, he sees someone saw it around him, and he's like, "We got to do something." And
Yep.
they did something. But I don't think it's going to matter, dude. I think they're done.
Could be. Could be. I think it's probably for the best because I honestly think that the automobile, well, it's always going to be important, obviously, some in some way or another, unless we can actually crack quiet flying vehicles. Uh, but regardless, I think the future's in robotics. I think what would be smart for even Ford, even these companies, is to start shifting some of their production toward once they get ones that are market tested, just get on it.
Well,
Just because
sure,
the infrastructure's there, and I
sure,
really think it's gonna be this situation where that's where the money's at. It's gonna be far more profitable.
sure.
It's gonna be something that, like cars, everybody's gonna probably want one or at least want access to one.
Right, but
Uh,
you
I
still
just
need
think that's the move.
transportation, dude.
Well, it'll just come from other places. Uh, I'm fine. I'd be fine with that if we had like if they did do that, if they shifted to something else in the modern world, right, that they're producing instead of the automobiles, and they shifted which they've already largely done, shifted that down to like the second and third world
Right.
for the cars. And I don't see it as being financially viable going forward. Like you said, they have all these vehicles that just aren't selling. They don't have anybody to buy them, and they're just making more because that's all they can do. They can't just stop production forever. So that's the way their model is set up. So I honestly think, just like how they did in World War II, where they shifted the factories from making cars to making everything else, uh, I think that's exactly what these companies should start looking into.
Yeah.
Look to the future. What's the future of industry? It's robotics. That's the future of industry.
It
It's
is
not
going to be,
automobiles.
but we do need other things, and of course, robots are
Even the
just way cheaper.
cars, even the cars are going to be robotic. Like that's
I
coming.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan says, I just got a brand new, out of date box toaster from 1995. Let's see how long it lasts. So it's going to last a lot longer than the shit we have now. And
Oh
you
yeah.
see a lot of people do that, like with trucks. We were talking about trucks earlier.
Hmm.
Um, you can go buy a truck from the 90s, 80s, not even something really old, just something from the 90s for literally hundreds of dollars, not thousands. So, and you're seeing the market shift so heavy to this. And we've had murmuring out of places like California that, of course, I'm not going to give them the European conversation. That's disgusting. But out of
Hmm.
California, wanting to ban it because those old vehicles can't deal with their planned, mileage that they want people to have in vehicles so they can charge the price they have, right? So they want to ban people from driving anything older at all, right? But the reality is, if you want a new vehicle, go buy an old one.
Yep.
Because you like, especially with a truck, you can get a truck 3, 4, 500 bucks right now, and some of those trucks have those engines that. Keep in mind, there are several examples, but let's just take the invention of the small block from General Motors, right? Now, most people say a Chevy small block, but let's be fair, it's General Motors. And what was that guy? Henkel? What was that guy? It doesn't matter. But that motor, especially coming up in the 350 version of it, that thing will do anything you want. You want to go racing with it. You want to have a truck that has a lot of torque. Just change your differential, right? That engine, um, uh, is amazing. That you can't kill them. They're almost as I would say the slant slick six is probably the most unkillable. But those small blocks you cannot kill them, and they made 110 million of them. You know, and they're easy to get started. Throw in a vehicle and go.
Hmm.
That is a reality, and you're seeing more and more people take that option. And the good thing about those old small blocks, and before we get to the upgraded LS, which is still kind of a small block, right? But even before we get into that in the late 90s, um, those small blocks, anybody can work on that,
Right.
right? Anybody. What do you need? You need fuel, you need electricity, you need air, right? And that's all you have to really worry about. There are no computers in them. Well, some of the later ones have it, but they're very minor, and you can find ways to cut those out and get around them, right? But I'm just saying, you're seeing this huge resurgence of classic car ownership, not because of all the YouTube channels, but because people don't have modern options, right? So whereas the new car market is on its knees, I would say dead. The used car market is booming like crazy.
Yep. 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 They push too far, too hard. They Icarus themselves.
They
Got
did.
way too close to the sun, and
They were
now they're getting
forced that
burned.
way in many ways, though, because of these
Yeah.
regulations.
Well, that's why Trump's rescinding them, and he should. He should rescind all of them. Actually,
Yeah,
get them out of here. We don't need them.
yeah,
Uh, I would love to be able to buy just a car, just a cheap under $20,000 car. Doesn't have any. I don't care if it has air conditioning in it. Just give me a car, one that goes
yeah.
from point A to point B.
Isn't
That's
it
all I need.
crazy that the cheapest car you can get right now is 30 grand? New
It's
car.
outrageous.
Yeah, it
There's no
is
reason.
outrageous. And let me ask a quick question. Maybe you can help me. Um, because I live in a economy that has been literally flat, no inflation, no deflation, nothing, flat for 30 years, right?
Yep.
And therefore no one gets raises really, but then again, nothing gets more expensive. So Japan's not a good thing to have a conversation like that because it's a closed economy. But in America, what is the average money that people are making annually? What's the average salary?
I think it's around 60,000.
You think it's that high? That
Well,
high?
that might be the household, but it's somewhere between 40 and 60.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when I was in America, well, because we have a lot of poor people, but it was, I think it was 24,000, but when you thought of in your brain, you were thinking like 30 grand,
Right.
right? 30, 36 grand, somewhere around there.
According to last year, the national average salary was 63,795.
So it's
But
doubled in 30 in 20
but
years, doubled.
but you have to also remember that the rich have way more money than they ever used to. So their salaries are skewing the average
Well, sure.
dramatically.
So give me a practical understanding of your friends and family around you. What are they making?
Well, probably around that, but my family, works really hard. Uh, but regardless, like even then, I know for a fact that I know. Well, actually, you know what? I know people who are making way less than that, who are making probably under 50, doing just fine. My wife and I did for years when we first got married. We were doing just fine.
Oh, sure.
Uh, and you can make it work. But even this number is very skewed because the cost of living is so high. When
Well,
you look at the
inflation, yeah.
actual, well, yeah, when you adjust for inflation, this is, I mean, it's probably half of that.
I
Your
see.
purchasing power
Well,
is probably
no,
about half.
that explains to me why car prices have more than doubled then
Yep.
since I was in America 20 some years ago. That's a short period to have such an extreme pop. And that also explains to me why things are so hectic because it's
Right.
too quick. It's too quick, right?
Right.
Because in my lifetime, before I left America and came over here, and like I said, we can't talk about where I live because it's different. But
Hmm.
we didn't see a doubling in that 30 years. There was no doubling going on.
Hmm.
It was much slower, lower percentage, much smaller. So somewhere along the line, the past 20 years, America just went absolutely insane.
Well, see, here's the thing. It didn't though, because if you actually look at, so I'm looking at the U.S. average and median salary by state. If you look at it by state, it makes a lot more sense. So you have the states like California, which is around the average is where'd it go? 76,000, almost 77,000. The median though is 74,000. Now, why would that be? Well, it's because the top is so skewed. That's why.
Right, right,
The top is out of control, whereas the middle has largely not really grown. And then when you factor in inflation, I think it was what was it during Biden that we were losing like $4,000, $5,000 a year in real world value every year. Americans were real
right.
purchasing power. So when you factor all that in, then you factor in the fact that the average worker's production rate is up thousands of percentage over that same period, thanks to technology and stuff. Their pay hasn't increased at that rate. So what
No, of
that
course
means
not.
is the people at the top are just raking in that extra profit,
Give
and
me
that's what's
Alabama.
skewing the numbers. Alabama, 53,394 is the average, 59,605 is the median, which is more closely to what it should be. The median should be a little higher than the average. When it's not, that means there's people at the top who are really skewing the shit out of that number.
Right.
Um, and I'm pretty sure Alabama's the poorest state. Either Louisiana's real close
Mississippi
to it.
is Mississippi,
Yeah,
New Mexico.
Mississippi is 47,000. It's under 50K. Uh, but there's a lot of, but then you have to also factor in the fact that around 40% of the country doesn't work at all. They're either on welfare or they're retired or whatever. They don't have any
Well,
actual
sure.
income, so they're not on this chart. That's another big thing that skews it because when you factor in the person who's living their entire life on welfare is probably making around $80,000 a year, or if not more,
Or more.
once you
Yeah.
factor in all their benefits,
Yeah. Well, it depends.
which is
If they're a
outrageous.
black single mother, yes. If they're
Yeah,
some white dude, no. They get a couple
no,
$100 a month
if they're lucky.
if they're lucky to be allowed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's what really is because a lot of people say it's quite heartless to pick on the EBT people, but it's like when they put out videos showing that they have $8,000 a month to go blow on sugar, it pisses people off because they can't afford to do that, but yet they're paying for it. Anyway, that conversation we've had before. Let's go ahead and get into the only real story I have today.
Oh, Trumpy boy is reportedly backing the Netflix deal as Paramount's David Ellison blunders. Now, this is interesting to me because the last I saw, which was just yesterday, Trump's regulators were saying most likely not. So that
Well,
something has shifted in the last 24 hours.
Well, no, I don't think so because Mr. McLoin here, the reason that people are saying this is because
Mhm.
Trump has made no comment.
Trump himself, no, but
Yeah,
his administration has made not full official comments, but there's, how it is. There's reports
right, right,
that most likely, well, the one I saw that they would be more likely to do they have some kind of buyout deal where they can start breaking it up for like 5 or 6 billion, I think, and then they can start piecemealing it. Most likely that would be approved over this because this would be just a huge acquisition. This is a massive merger.
true.
Warner Brothers is a monstrous company with
Well,
unbelievable franchises. I don't know why they're broke. They shouldn't be broke. It's ridiculous.
well, we know there's a lot of cooking books going on in the background. Now, keep in mind, even with what you said and some of the other things that could possibly go, Paramount could always just do a hostile takeover, right?
That's what they're trying. That's the
Because their
next.
bid
I
is
saw that.
Yeah, because their bid is higher. So
Yeah.
why did Warner Brothers take a lower deal is another question we don't have an answer to, by the way, but we can
Which
speculate.
is why they can, like you said, a hostile takeover. They can take this into court, take this into mediation. They might even be able to bring a case based with the shareholders against the board that
Right.
stops it.
Yeah.
Because if there's a higher table or a higher dollar value offer on the table and they're just not taking it, well, that they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that. They have to take the highest deal, uh, or the one that has the most. The one that gives the shareholders the most money. That's the one they have to take. So they can't just pick the one because it's their buddies, right? That's against the law. They have to have the best interests of every single shareholder at heart,
Right.
which means they have to make them money, the most possible money.
Which is
And if they're
pretty standard. Yeah.
yeah, if they're taking a lesser deal, they're going to have to justify that in court because
Right.
that's going to happen if that
Yeah.
comes out. That's going to
Yeah.
happen.
And
But the one thing I was talking about is a what I saw was a Trump admin regulator says Warner Brothers is far more likely to collect its $5.8 billion breakup fee than getting the Netflix deal through the regulatory process. So I don't think it's going to happen unless Trump decides to just look the other way and let it happen.
right.
It'll be his call.
And they're suggesting this because he's made no comment. It's all based
Right.
upon the fact that Trump hasn't said anything. And it's like, well, that's nothing. What are you doing? Right. But
Right.
nevertheless, the
That's.
reason why we're talking about this is because we've been following it. It
Mhm.
seemed to have been a done deal. You do have Zack Schneider has been playing all sides. How many paychecks is this guy getting?
He's
And it
getting them
looks
all.
he's got to
He's taking them
win
all.
no matter what. Yeah.
Yep.
But Netflix just
Maybe
kind
we
of came out of
underestimated him.
nowhere. Yeah, we did, and it blindsided everyone that Netflix because this is the worst possible scenario, right? First of all, Netflix, even though they said, "Well, we'll probably just continue Warner Brothers as it is," okay, that sounds reassuring. They don't go to the cinema, and of course, because they're a streaming service. And we know that the cinema is in bad shape. This would be a major blow, right? Maybe the death blow. Keep in mind, just to remind you, that they are $14.46 billion in debt. However, this is also said to be manageable. Okay, alrighty then. But yeah, uh, they're also thinking that another reason why Trump might support it is because Sarandos went to Mar-a-Lago some time back and had meetings with Trump, and Trump was smiling and shaking hands, which he does for everyone, right? But I do love the idea that Trump's 100% behind it just because he hasn't spoken. And we'll see. But Ellison, of course, from Skydance, people are saying he screwed up and stuff like that because he was relying too much on Trump. And it's like, well, I did he? I don't know what's going on, but Netflix getting this would be an absolute disaster because one, we're going to be going back 100% to Zack Snyder. They have said this very clearly. Some people have said, well, they just gave what was the other guy there with James Gunn, the co-controller there? What was his name?
Uh,
Um, well, whatever.
Zaslav.
Not Zaslav, the other guy.
No, no. Oh, what the hell was his name? That's how good they've been at pushing him out of the spotlight. I don't remember.
Right. But that guy and Gunn, they did extend their contracts. And people will say, "Oh, that means Gunn's safe." No, and if you, I'm going to show you in a minute. What that means is Gunn is going to be just absolutely dumping a lot of crap on you because this is going to take a year and a half, 2 years to complete, right? This isn't going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take time. And I imagine we're in for a few other bumps along the way. And like you said, it might just be, they might just break it into pieces. And various things might be owned by various people by the time it's done. We'll see.
Hmm.
But however, Gunn is going to absolutely flood the market because we know they don't want him, right?
Right.
And I'm going to show you very clearly that this is what he's doing, right? So keep in mind, he said very clearly, Gunn said very clearly, nothing gets moved forward until we have a finished script because the Marvel treatment is, oh, just go ahead and book it. We'll write it during,
Hmm.
whatever. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
Well, now Gunn is doing that because he wants to get all his vision out, right?
Hmm.
Um, Unbelievable. And of course, we know how Netflix operates. Other than the fact that they are woke, it's not like Amazon, who, it depends on what the team is. So you'll get woke and not woke, right? With Amazon.
Right.
Um, but with Netflix, they're just woke, right? Pretty much
Hmm.
across the board. But another thing they do, they don't care about quality. They just put out slop, this constant stream of it, because they need that because they're a streaming service. So you're going to see the quality drop incredibly. And to be fair, are we going to sit here and say that DC's quality was even close to Marvel's anyway?
No, not
Right?
Marvel at its peak.
No. And of course, it's not just the DCU. For us, it is, but there are many other things. You're going to get this explosion of slop will be dropped on Netflix, and it will just be the death knell for them because they're going to woke the hell out of it. We will indeed have a black Superman. You want to put money on it?
Yeah. Oh, we'll have a gay Superman.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, they are going to destroy everything that's left. All of it.
yeah. They will. And let's kind of get into what I was talking about here with that. Go ahead.
James Gunn's DCU contract extended, insiders say. The real story is much
Is he
bigger.
wearing lipstick?
Yes.
He is wearing lipstick, isn't he?
That's the answer to that question. Yes, he is. Or he's jaundice. One or the other. He might need to see a doctor if he's not.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, he and the other guy got an extension, but it's not what people think. It's not that they're saying, "Oh, look, we made a deal. Netflix is going to keep James Gunn." No, Netflix has been very clear. What they've done, because they know it's going to take a while to finish this, they gave them an extension, the contract, which is supposed to end in early, like a year or so from now, so that he can pump out all his ideology real quick. That's what you got to get.
Yep.
And let's see, they mentioned the other guy. Goodness gracious, I can't remember. Oh, Saffron, Peter
Saffron. Yeah,
Saffron,
Saffron.
Saffron. They both been extended, but like I said, it's not for the purpose of him rolling into Netflix or whatever happens. It's for the purpose of him finishing what he's doing, which I have to ask the question, why did Zaslav do that?
Hmm.
Why bother? Right? You did your thing. It's got to get bought. You can, back up. You don't need to do anything. So, but yet he's given these guys specifically, not a lot of the other departments, DCU. And Gunn
Right.
is absolutely pressing, full court pressing already, dude. Like I said, he's going back to the Marvel method here. There's several things. And of course, this right here. Um, he is really pushing on his Supergirl, which he desperately wants to get drunk Supergirl out for some reason. And here we go.
James Gunn releases Supergirl trailer teaser, full of teaser drops or full teaser drops this week. So this
Already.
stop this. This needs to stop. So
Well,
not
we're
it's not even a trailer. It's a teaser for a teaser for a trailer.
right,
What are we
because
doing?
we are far out. They're not even shooting this. This is just him getting this probably he probably made this decision like a week ago, and it's dude, throw something together because I'm sure they've been doing testing, shooting, and various things like that for it. I'm sure they always do that. They probably don't even have a script for this. Just she's drunk and she's a bitch, and they have the Tom King thing that they're basing it upon, which we know is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is coming this week. He's really pushing. He needs to have his drunk, I'm sure, absolute slut of a Supergirl. We know how he is. We know how he is, right? He's going to slut her up big time. Have we ever seen Supergirl done that way? Now, let's be fair. Wonder Woman's never been slutted as bad as others, like, say, She Hulk or Miss Marvel. Holy crap, they slutted the hell out of them. But Supergirl's never been done like that. She was always the wholesome girl, right? Now, they had a period where she kind of went crazy and they kind of took like a Mary Marvel type of line with her, but they didn't slut
Mm.
her out though. They just
Yeah.
kind of did the, crazy with power run like they do with Mary. But boy, he's desperate, desperate. So, what do you think? James Gunn really wants to have Supergirl done before he wants to get it out. He wants to get it out, and other things. Why do you think it's so important for him to put Supergirl out? Because it clearly is very important to him.
I don't know. That's a very good question, especially this Supergirl.
Yeah,
Um, it's a very good question because it's. I mean, look, we like Supergirl.
sure.
You know, a lot of people do, but most people don't really know that character. Like the general public, they know Superman, they know Batman, they know those people, but they don't really know Supergirl.
Well,
Uh,
she's part of
to
his
them,
story, right?
to them, she's just chick Superman, right? I mean, that's what I'm like when they see it. That's all she is. Now, that's not what she is. Obviously, we know better than that, but they don't know that. So it's not like there's this big clamor for this movie, right? There's not a bunch of people beating down the door. We need a Supergirl movie, except comic people. That's the only people who would like to see that if done well. Uh, and it's a shame because if they did this right, there would be enough of a clamor that you'd make some money. The days of being able to put out obscure, she's not that obscure, but compared to Superman, she is obscure characters and just make money off them cuz that's long over. And I don't know what he's thinking. So I don't know why the obsession with Supergirl specifically
Hmm.
when he couldn't even make a good Superman movie.
Right.
So there's
Well,
a problem there.
they put this out, by the way.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. They can't even take they couldn't even take that down. Oh goodness.
Well, she's showing, I guess, a quarter of a thigh,
A little
barely,
bit of
like
thigh, yeah.
knees. And
I don't know why she's not allowed to have her little belly shirt. I don't know why it's not allowed. What's wrong with that? Why can't she be Why can't she be cute? Heaven forbid Supergirl be cute.
yeah.
I mean, I don't hate that outfit though. It looks fine.
Well, it is interesting to me. This looks much closer to Henry Cavill's outfit than the new Superman outfit we saw.
Mm. I don't
It's
like that S though. The S they're using, I don't like it at all. I don't like the style
well
of it. I
because
never
it's a
have.
symbol on his planet.
Uh huh.
It's a different language. It's not an S.
It is though.
It
It's an
is
S.
though.
Now
Yeah.
the S can mean hope in Kryptonian. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. But it's an S. We're not. You're not
Because
tricking
I'm
me. I know what S's look like.
pretty sure that his original costume was sewn from his blanket by
That's right.
Ma Kent, right?
That's right. Hmm.
He
We don't
didn't.
know how she pulled it off with the indestructible materials, but she pulled it off.
She did. She did. Well, she probably had little Clarky there to help her out.
He was in there
Um,
bending and breaking and
and,
tearing, just
and
doing it
I
himself.
beaming. Yeah. Yeah. But that's the story. His
Hmm.
uniform is not from Krypton.
No,
It's not, right? Of course, now it is. Now, to be
right.
fair, with Zack Schneider and his stuff, there's plenty of things that people don't like, and me as well. His idea that the gods of Earth were Kryptons in their Kryptonians in their original discovery of that planet. I don't mind that so
Mm-hmm.
much. Meaning, therefore, Diana would have
Like a
would be an
descendant.
ancestor
Yeah.
of Kryptonians, right? I don't mind that so
Hmm.
much. And they never really grabbed onto that. In the Man of Steel, they pushed it, and there's some deleted scenes that even push it more, but they never came back to it, which I
No,
don't know
he
why.
abandoned the idea.
Maybe,
I don't know why either.
maybe, maybe.
I think maybe because he got the green light to go broader, and maybe he planned on he was clearly going to do New God stuff and all
Right,
that kind of stuff.
right,
So
right.
maybe that's why.
Well, it looks like we're going to get it
I hope.
because um, he has been showing Gal Gadot. He's been everything from his Snyderverse. He's been dropping photos like every damn day. And of course, he dropped this picture, and
Want me to
he
read it?
said that yeah, go ahead.
Zack Snyder teases, quote, many more stories together with new Henry Cavill Superman image. Look, I do want more Henry as Superman. I didn't want Henry as Superman to stop being a thing. That was still the wrong decision. I don't care what the justification was. Uh, but Schneider overall is shit. We don't need him. We don't want him. I really was hoping to get some fresh eyes on Henry's version of Superman and get, Superman just once. Just one time. Can I get Superman on my screen? I haven't seen him since well before I was born as a live action character anyway. At least not in the movies. I don't know why it's so hard, so Herculean, if you will, for these people just to give me Superman. He's not that complicated. He's just a good boy. He does the right thing all the time,
That's right.
and he doesn't let people treat him like an idiot because
That's
he's
right.
not an idiot. He's smarter than every human alive, just about. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. People, for some reason, have just been erased from his abilities. He's also a super genius.
Yeah.
Why is that not? It's just forgotten. Like, he's just a guy.
Well,
He's just a powerful guy.
it covers too many tropes, too many mantles he wears. However, this does look like an older Henry. Um,
Yeah,
uh, you think do you think Henry came in and put a costume on here in the past month, or is this
maybe.
AI generated?
Could just be AI altered to make him look a little older. Uh, or just smack his current face on his old body. It's possible.
Yeah,
But
there is an easy break
I
right
would
here and there.
love,
Yeah.
not with Snyder doing it, but I would love to get a full Crisis on Infinite Earths, uh, full series of films and use the Spider-Man, the three Supermans, current Silver Age Superman, old Superman, and then Superboy Prime. I would love to have that be a thing. And like a
It could be
full-on
fun.
big budget movie, that would be huge. It's such a great story. But it's never going to happen because no
Right.
one will ever commit. No one will ever commit to actually doing the one thing we can give Marvel is for 10 years they had a plan and they stuck to it. They made
Yep.
alterations here or there, but they knew where they were going and they got there and they gave us the one of the best superhero villains we've ever seen in Thanos. They did a great job,
They did.
at least on screen. And we just can't because could you imagine if somebody took Superboy Prime and did him right? He's such a good villain. He's
Yeah.
such a good villain.
Yeah.
And he's a tragic villain. He's not like a villain you want to hate. You don't even want to hate him. He's tragic. And they all this how many times have we bitched that they try to make every villain tragic now? Right? Every villain's
Yeah.
got to be humanized. And then they
Sure.
have one who actually is tragic. It's a tragic story, tragic character, and they never nope, we're not going there.
Right.
Not going there.
Well,
Not touching it.
to be fair, before I did a Crisis, I would do, anything other than Lex Luthor. How about that?
Yes. Just
How about
can I get some
Brainiac?
Metallo?
Anybody?
Some
Metallo?
Brainiac?
Yeah.
You could do Brainiac and Metallo. You could tag team it. Why not? Parasite. You could do a Parasite movie. You could do
Ooh.
much more lower budget with Parasite.
That would be good.
There's so many things. You give him. Do a movie with him and Mixel, where Mixel's just fucking with him. It's just like a mind bend movie where he's just constantly fucking with him throughout the whole movie. Where Superman, because the thing with Mixel is Superman can't just punch him, right? He can't just beat him up. He can't just
No,
do that to him.
can't. He has
So-
to think him, right?
Yeah, that's why they're bitching. All these bitching about he's too powerful. No, you're just lazy. You're just lazy. You don't want to use his villains that actually force him outside of his comfort
Right.
zone
Well-
because you're fucking lazy. That's why.
Well, because the people who have been writing Superman for over 80 years have had to
Yeah.
deal with that problem nearly the whole time. Yes,
That's right.
he's very powerful, so you have to be creative in your writing, and they were,
Yep.
right?
He came up with new ways.
And
Came up with
they're-
new ways.
Therefore, just read the comics and follow them. You're not better than them. You're not smarter.
I said from the start, all you needed to do if you were going to try and kickstart a new DCU thing is you take one of Superman's bookend stories. There's a few of them.
Yep.
Where it was designed to be the end of this era. We're moving on. It's always about Superman because he's the main character of DC. Cool. You take that and you just fucking do it. You take it right from the comics, like whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow is a great example. Do that one.
Yep.
You could have did that. Just
That-
do that one, and then you move on, and you can build your whole universe after it because you gave us a narrative reason why we're starting fresh.
Is that the one where he was so busy with everything he realized he wasn't in contact with the people and he started walking?
I think so. I'm trying to remember, but it's a good. My point is, it's a good example of there's numerous Superman stories where they're designed from beginning to end to be an ending for that particular version of the DC universe or him.
Story arc.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they should have started. They should have started with a story like that, not with a story that. I mean, what was the point of this story? That Lex Luthor doesn't like him? Well, we know that. That's not new information. Nothing in that movie was new information. Nothing in that movie was revolutionary. It was just, okay, this could have been a TV show. This could have been a made for TV movie. There was no grand anything to it. And it's like,
No.
what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why
He
did this
was,
get made? So
yeah.
frustrating.
And he's too much of a child. We cover that all. But I always come back
Yep.
to that one scene where he's supposed to be having a serious conversation with Lois Lane, who's very old. And in the background, there's a fight going on because yuck, yuck.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
they
get
got it.
past that. I can't get past that scene, dude. I can't.
They got it. It's like, yeah, okay, they probably do. I get it. He's probably right. But come on, he's Superman. He's not going to sit there and do nothing and fucking mope while that's happening behind him. What are we doing here? Because that's
Yeah,
all he's doing. He's moping. He's
he
having a
is,
mope.
but that's not even the point. That should not have been going on. That was meant to be a serious moment, but he can't get past
Yep.
it. And
Yep.
Supergirl, drunk, slutty Supergirl, is going to be a train wreck. I'm telling you, dude.
It is. I
Which
hope it
is
just
the
doesn't even
intention.
happen.
Yeah.
I hope it just doesn't even happen because, by all accounts, from what I understand, and look, they can sign extensions all they want, but that doesn't mean they ever have to greenlight any of his shit. He can be under contract and just not work. That
Yeah, but
happens.
if he gets it
Uh,
done before the merger is finished, then it does come out.
well, or they just table it. They say, nope, we're going to different. That's what he did. He came in and
He
tabled
did.
everything.
He
Remember?
did. He did. He did. You're right. You're right. And of course, we know with this conversation, we know that the this whole it isn't really a done deal. Not really.
No,
Paramount is not out of Comcast. I think is out of it.
no.
I'm
Paramount has said they're going to go for a hostile takeover.
yeah
Through different channels. That's what they've said. They said if this is what they're doing, because they were blindsided. Everybody was. If this is what they're doing, then we got other options, and they're going to go for them. They want
yeah
it. They want that library. It's Warner Brothers library is outrageous. Somebody broke it down on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, how are you losing money? How are you? They have Harry Potter, bro. Like, what are we
yeah.
doing? It's
Well,
the most
they're
successful book franchise of all time. What are you? How do you lose money with this?
well
What are you
they're
doing?
remaking it, and you get a Black
Oh
Snape and
God,
all kind of nonsense. It's going to be
yeah,
great.
it's gonna
Um,
be wonderful. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things about Harry Potter that people don't understand.
yep,
And maybe it's because they didn't read the books. I read the books to the kids, right? And the kids loved it, you know. But
yep.
one thing that people don't understand about, because if I ask you, name the three main characters of Harry Potter.
Well, Harry would be
Uh-huh.
one of them.
Yeah,
Uh, well, if you go by the movies, it'd be Harry, Hermione, and Ron.
but that's the
But
wrong
it's
answer.
right. That's not the way it is in the book.
No.
Uh, yeah. I don't know. I've never read the books. Who are the three main characters in the books?
Harry,
Hmm.
Voldemort, and Snape.
Yeah, that makes sense.
These are the
Makes
three
sense.
main characters. Matter of fact, a lot of people really enjoyed the little animation sequence in the movies, which was talking about the three brothers and how they got the Deathly Hallows. You know this,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And of course, you had the one seeking power, got the Elder Wand. Uh, the one that was looking to bring back lost love was got the resurrection stone, and the one that just wanted to live a happy life got the invisibility cloak. And when his natural death came, he met death as a friend. Right?
Hmm.
That story is those three. Voldemort is the brother who got the Elden Wand. Snape is the one who got the Resurrection Stone because keep in mind, his lifelong love is who?
It's his mom. Harry's
No,
mama.
that's right,
Yep.
Lily Potter.
Yep.
And of course, Harry is the one that just wants to be a normal boy, right?
He just
Uh,
wants to be a good boy. That's
yeah.
all he wanted.
So this is important to understand with the story because the whole thing revolves, and give credit to J.K. Rowling. I mean, she crafted this story very well. She must have had her cosmology laid out. She knew what she wanted to do. She planned in the future, which a lot of writers do, even though they don't all get the opportunity to see it through. She knew what she wanted to do. It's clear. So, because that was laid out from the beginning, and as you go through, you realize, oh, okay, she did plan that, right?
Mhm.
So, with the Harry Potter thing, it's very important. that Voldemort be power mad, right?
Yeah.
It's very important that Snape is a lovelorn guy. He must
Hmm.
be. And it's very important that Harry just wants to be normal.
Yep.
These are the core tenets of the whole damn story. To be
Right.
fair, Hermione and Ron and many of the other characters are not important, but yet
I
we
agree.
see from this series that Warner Brothers is working on to release through Max, I think. And keep in mind that's on the table as well, right?
Hmm.
That they have completely lost sight of this,
Hmm.
100%, particularly with Snape.
Right.
And if I ask you who is the most cornerstone character of the series, what would you say?
A cornerstone character of the series. Well, I would say since I watched the movies, it would be Harry,
Yeah, but it's not
but
though. It's Snape.
yeah, yeah. Well, I
Snape
mean, his story
is
is tragic. It's
it is
heartbreaking.
horribly tragic, and there's many little nuances that go along the way.
Right.
Because there's other things about Snape that you see in the movies, but the book is more clear. But you don't understand what she's driving home with it in the movies
Mm.
as much. But for instance, if you think about Snape's character, he's always doing his job in the classroom. He takes it very seriously.
Yep.
He's also always the guy you see that's walking the halls, right?
Yep.
At nighttime. He's always the one that's interceding in various problems. Why is he
Hmm.
always there? Why isn't he sleeping? You also see he's showing up to Death Eater meetings because he's a double spy for Dumbledore, right?
Hmm.
The guy never sleeps. He's
Right.
everywhere all the time doing stuff. He's the most hardworking. He's the stitched in connection to everything in a story called
Hmm.
Harry Potter. And if you think about it, Harry's kind of useless throughout the entire series,
Yeah. He's supposed to
right?
be.
Yeah. But
He's
I'm just
because
saying,
that's how she made him in every. That's how she made him a blank canvas by making him
she did.
not be exceptional at really anything, uh, except when he needed to be,
Yeah,
and which is
except in
kind of
those
his
moments.
gift.
And what is he
Yep.
amazing at? Honesty,
Yep.
truthfulness,
Courage,
honor, courage. Yeah. Um, but
virtue.
my but the Harry Potter thing, you're right. That's a lot of money, and that's
That's a
probably one of the
lot of
big things
money.
around it. The DC. Who are the ones that did Lord of the Rings?
Them.
Yeah,
Netflix will
yeah,
now own Lord of the Ring, the
yeah.
rights to make the original remake or do whatever they want to the original Lord of the Rings
Content,
saga.
right? So
That is the
there's
most horrifying thing I think I've ever said in this
wow,
context.
wow, yeah,
Think
wow.
about it.
Well,
Yeah.
we're definitely getting black hobbits that are lesbians.
Yep.
That is
Black
happening.
hobbits, you're getting more black elves that doesn't make any sense.
No, doesn't.
It's here's I harp on that, but it's because it's so astronomically insulting. If you want black people to be running around, black humans, okay, fine. We can
Well,
rationalize that.
we have them
Black
from the
elves
east. Yeah.
make no sense in Tolkien's lore. It's
Well,
not possible for them to have dark skin. That would mean they're corrupted and evil.
yes. Well, it's cultural appropriation, you see.
Yes,
You're allowed to do that to white people, but not to others. And of course,
that's right.
Tolkien's story is a telling of Anglo-Saxon lore because it had been lost because of the
Hmm.
Norman invasions. That was his entire intention behind it. Hobbit's different. He just took that and built off of it, right? I
Right.
don't even know that he had ideas for Lord of the Rings in his head when he wrote Hobbit, because the Hobbit was really him writing for his because he would tell his kids bedtime stories, and that's
Hmm.
where the Hobbit comes from. I don't even know if there was any connection in his head, but when he
And
decided to,
that's where what's his name? The people always say he's a self-insert. What's his name?
Tom Bombadil,
Tom Bombadil. That's where Bombadil
yeah,
came from too. He was just a character he used to tell his kids about in his bedtime stories.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
he's God, right? But
Yeah.
then when he decided to do this grand story, he took what he already done, and because it was successful, and he built on it, right? Fine,
Right.
and he expanded it ridiculously. But his whole intention, because keep in mind, he was one of the most influential, important philologists. My my area of expertise, right?
Hmm.
He's my idol in that regard because he was
Hmm.
amazing philologist. I mean, I'm just a mid-level, translator dude, right? He's the
Right.
real deal. Um, and his intention, when I stress this, was to reintroduce Anglo-Saxon, because that's what his heritage is,
Hmm.
Anglo-Saxon lore and mythology, because it had been burned out by the Norman invasions, and people don't
Right.
understand how vicious and brutal the Norman invasions were, right? And he was trying to rebuild a cosmology, a mythology for that lost knowledge. And of course, so many of the English people are from Anglo-Saxon heritage, right? And that's what his intentions were. So there's a lot of cleverness, a lot of interesting things going on, and more importantly, it is an Anglo-Saxon story. Now, the BBC decide, uh, I hate to tell you, BBC, but there were no black people in Anglo-Saxony,
No.
In the Anglo
Mm-mm.
lands or the Saxon lands. They weren't, even though BBC literally puts black Anglo-Saxons during the invasions.
Yeah.
Literally.
Which is
Someone needs to be
preposterous.
slapped. And it's just the complete disrespect for Europeans being able to have their own history and heritage. I mean,
Hmm.
it would be absolute blasphemy if you told a Chinese story and you changed one of the characters to another race, right?
Yep.
Absolute blasphemy if you told some story of Saladin or some other Arabic or Persian story and injected in an Indian or a Chinese person. Absolute. And people would yell and scream it, and rightfully so. But yet the white people are not the white people. The Europeans are not allowed to have anything, and it's in this
Nope.
constant attack and constant destroy. And that's where your point on the black elf is important because these are the Alfir. They are
Right.
Europeans. They're the Sami, probably is what they are, right?
Hmm.
To be
Well, and
fair,
even in the lore, like the reason they're fair skinned and have fair colored of hair is because of their nature. So if they were to be, he literally says
that's
this.
true.
If
That
they
is
were
true.
to
Yeah,
be, if they were to be darker, they would literally mean they're evil. They're
the
corrupted.
corruption of Morgoth. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's so you can't just be like, wow, this one's black. What? No. What? That's not how it works.
Yeah,
Like you
well, they're
can't
not.
just.
They don't know this, dude. They don't know anything about these books. They've never read them.
I know that would be a lot of work. It's. I mean, this. I'll give them the credit. The Silmarillion is a lot of work. It's a pretty thick read, but
Yeah,
regardless, it's just so frustrating. It's so unnecessary. And get ready, it's going to get worse. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make Aragorn gay or something. It'll just be ridiculous or bisexual, right? Him and
right.
Legolas making out. Uh, it's just preposterous, and
It is,
it's
and it's going to be
everybody's tired of
YA
it.
as well. It's going to be YA to
Yeah,
the nth degree. Let's take a look at it
which
though, because there are other
which is
things.
one of the things that I would strike Jackson's interpretation of it is for some reason he decided to make Frodo young. He's not young in the book. He's 50. He's in his 50s in
Yeah,
the middle
he's
of the
old.
story. He has
Yeah,
gray
he's old.
hair.
Yeah. Catalog maybe.
I mean, Elijah Wood did a great job as Frodo.
He
I think
did.
he was one of the best performers in the whole thing, but he wasn't old enough.
No, he wasn't. But that's a very small nitpick that I don't think is worthy of any noise. Let's see here. Um, this is going to be a pain in the butt to get through, and I know it. Let me look at this a better one.
There
Here
you
we
go, right
go.
there with that one. Excellent. What is
Crap.
that? What about that? Oh, that's actually from them, so that's probably what that hopefully is a good list. Or not.
Not. Maybe this.
That's 90.
No, that's
That's
not. Yeah,
92.
no, that's not what I want.
You could go up to the list of their films, maybe.
Um, franchise? Because I know there's more than just what those things we mentioned are huge. Matrix. Oh, here we go. Harry Potter, of course, DCU, Matrix, which I don't know if you can make stuff outside of their control. The transgender brother sisters. The Lord of
Mhm.
the Rings. Of course, this is part of Harry Potter. Lego stuff. The
Yep.
Conjuring universe, Looney Tunes, Scooby Doo. These are all animation stuff. The Exorcist, which there's plenty of meat on that bone, maybe. Nightmare on Elm Street or some Hangover Matrix. Okay. Um, I'm sure there are other little things in there. Oh, here we go. They're talking about the direct problem. Oh, okay. The Godzilla stuff is Warner Brothers. Oh shit. All right.
Yep.
Dune. Oh
Dune.
God. They're just going to make the original book over again. No one can seem to move past and get into the other 8 books. It's
Yeah, no, you just get the
ridiculous.
first one, and that's all
Yeah.
you get.
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat
Kombat,
stuff. Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes, of course.
Dude, Netflix touching Looney Tunes is going to be absolute
Blasphemy.
blasphemy, dude.
Yep.
Um,
Matrix
the
already killed itself. These two are the
MonsterVerse.
ones that'll suck, I bet, if they even touch them.
Yeah. Game of
Game of
Thrones. Forgot about
Thrones.
that. Yeah. Dude, Warner Bros. How are they not making money?
That's what I'm saying. These are billion-dollar franchises. They're just
Yeah.
losing money on.
Yeah.
How? What are you doing?
Outrageous. Well, of course, this ended poorly because of hubris. But it sounds like the House of Dragons doing a little bit better. Whatever.
Well,
Whatever.
it's also because the author's lazy and just is content to never finish the story. And it's also, I think it was Razorfist who said one of the main reasons, if not the real reason, is because he knows he fucked up. He wrote himself into a corner and he doesn't know how to write out of it. And I think
Yeah,
he's right.
I think that's probably the biggest point, right? He's showing his
Limitations.
yeah, limitations. But then again, if you listen to him, you shouldn't. Why all you people love Tolkien? He sucks. I'm so much better. You know.
Well, at least he finished his shit, dickhead.
Well, I mean, come on.
And he was alive for decades after it was done too. You dick. At least he can
Yeah.
finish a story.
Well, I read a few of his books, and I do like. He's very descriptive in his descriptions, right?
Hmm.
Whereas Tolkien isn't, but yet oddly enough, he is. It's weird. Tolkien is weird. He doesn't give you much information, but he's a master of getting your imagination moving.
Yeah. Well, there's a
And
reason why everybody has roughly the same imagery of his world
right,
without him having to really describe it. It's
right.
because
He's a
good
master.
writing is
Yeah,
evocative. It brings
it
it out
is.
of you. It's
That's
it's
right.
giving you the tools to imagine it yourself. Whereas other writers, I shouldn't say good writers, it's just a different style, but other styles are much more, they're trying to paint you a direct picture with words. I don't think Tolkien was doing that. He was trying to tell you a story. There's a
Right.
difference.
And of course, you're right that everyone has kind of a similar image, but you do have room for interpretation with Tolkien.
Hmm.
Whereas
Sure.
with Martin, there is none. He has,
Right.
and to be fair, those shows were not visually accurate. I think it's
No.
fine what they did, but they're not because Martin is very, very descriptive and very clear of what everything looked like. For instance, Jon Snow, the actor they chose, too small, too old.
Hmm. Hmm.
Jon is young, right?
And
Um,
he, the one who should be the hero of the series, but he couldn't let that
well,
happen because
he's got a dick,
how dare you pigeonhole him? How
yeah,
dare you stereotype my series? We can't have
right.
heroes. Everybody's got to be shitty. All right.
Well,
Okay.
another thing that's kind of interesting is the series, and of course now the House of the Dragon. It basically made Bran Stark the Night King, is what they've done,
Yeah.
right? But now he hasn't finished the series, but in the series there is no alluding to that. There's none. Now it is alluded to, suggested that maybe the Night King was a Stark, but then again, I also think that the Night King could have been a Targaryen. Maybe. But it's
Maybe.
certainly not Bran Stark. But those guys made a decision to go that direction for some reason. And I don't even know if they did intentionally. I think all the internet hype got him thinking it was like, oh, well, the House of Dragons, let's make it true. Because he shows up in the House of Dragons quite a bit during his time traveling stuff, right? Um, anyway, give me a minute. I want to make some, put some water on the boil and get another pack of cigarettes.
Another
Can
pack of
talk to the
smokes.
peoples, please.
I'm gonna talk to the peoples. Peoples, how are we? How we doing? How's life? How is life where you're at? This is a DEF CON Omega situation. This to me is worse than when Disney bought Marvel and Star Wars because that was only two properties. These are multiple properties, beloved properties, that Netflix can now utterly decimate with their bullshit. It's going to get real gay. It's going to get real gay and retarded. And it's just, it's like at this point, every single person, every single human being on earth is either in denial about what Netflix does to properties or they're just lying or they're us and are honest about it. There's three camps. You're in denial, you're dishonest, or you're honest. And that doesn't some of the honest people are fine with the fact that they turn everything into woke garbage because that's what they want. Most of us though, we don't want that. We want good shit. That's all we want. I don't see why that's an unreasonable request when we pay good money for these services and for these products. But for some reason, these Netflix is not in the people pleasing business, even though they're quite literally in entertainment. And they don't give us that. They give us dog shit. They give us the Witcher franchise, the series, which isn't even about the Witcher. It's the Yennefer. It's about Yennefer. He's a side character in his own fucking shit, which is preposterous. If you've ever read any of the Witcher books, he's not the side character. He's, especially apparently the last season was based off of Baptism of Fire. If you've ever read Baptism of Fire, he's the absolute indisputable main character of that book. He's in almost every page. So it's preposterous that they've done what they've done to The Witcher, and they're just going to do it to everything else. Everything they touch turns to shit, as Trump once famously said. And there's no real coming out of it. I really, really hope everybody's wrong about this. I hope that the administration is going to step in, stop Netflix from doing this. I actually think the best move, and I've said this from the beginning, is for the regulators to tell them, no, you can't sell the whole thing. It's too much. It has to be broken up. You have to start piecemealing these franchises off, these intellectual property rights off, and that's just the way it is. And I think that would be a better result for everybody involved. Imagine if DC was able to be sold off to a smaller private or whatever company or investor, and then they just got to work making great comic books again and making great comic stories again and things like this. Just as an example. Or if Harry Potter was allowed to be under its own umbrella or under a different umbrella because it got broken off from Warner Brothers, I genuinely think that would be the best option, but Netflix is by far the worst option. This is an apocalyptic event culturally. They're going to destroy so much of great culture that we all love. They're going
Yeah,
to destroy it.
yeah. I have a list of their top movies. I want to see if I can't find something in here that's not related to those big IPs that could be used. But also, I have a little bit of a moral dilemma.
Uh-oh. Moral dilemmas inbound.
I'm making my coffee. It's boiling. I hope I don't forget. But whilst preparing my coffee, I found a Kit Kat bar,
What kind? Just regular chocolate, or what do you got?
the giant bar type.
Yeah, but it's just regular chocolate kind?
Yeah, 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 normal one.
Because
But
in Japan, they got all them weird-ass
oh
Kit
no,
Kat
don't
flavors.
even look at that crap. But clearly my wife has hidden it.
Uh-oh.
Should I eat it, chat?
Well, how much do you love your wife? Because the play,
That's
Chester,
an
here's the play. The
unfair
play
question.
the play is to eat it and then buy
Hmm.
another one and put it back.
Dude, that is the play. I could do that. I could do that.
There's no harm, no foul, no
That's
crime was
true.
committed.
That's
Everybody
true.
wins.
That's true. I don't know what she probably got to put it on top of something, chop it up or something, and put it on top of something. You know, she does like
Yeah.
that. But That's a serious moral dilemma. Do not put Kit Kat bars in front of me. Anyway, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, of course, Batman. Oh, that's right. Um, I'll
Hobbit,
get
Dark
to the
Knight.
next article, which involves Batman, by the way, in a minute.
Oh boy, here
Uh,
he comes.
yeah.
Lord of the
Wow.
Rings, Harry Potter.
Holy crap. Inception.
There's
I
one.
don't. I didn't mind it. What did you think of it?
It's good. It's overrated, I
It
think, but it's good.
is.
It's fine.
I also think it's something where Christopher Nolan should be focusing. That's
Yep.
his wheelhouse, in my opinion.
Mm.
Right?
Hmm. Yeah, I
No,
agree with you.
my wife doesn't eat much chocolate outside of Norm. Like I said, she's probably going to use it to chop up and put on top of a cake or something. She probably had some
Hmm.
plan in her head. We don't eat a lot of sweets, so it's Christmas time, so I'm assuming she's going to make a dessert for Christmas. Anyway, um, Suicide Squad, bleh, Matrix, Gravity. This
Another one.
movie
Yep.
was hyped the hell out of. I thought it was kind of mid, dude. It was a bit
I do
lame.
too. Yeah,
I don't understand
it
why
was
this movie
overrated.
hit so well. It had a good space scene and a good CG space scene in it, though. It did.
Hmm.
Hangover series. Did you care about this?
The first one was good. The rest of them, eh.
Yeah. Philip K. Dick's I Am Legend or the Omega Man. Uh,
Right.
I don't know. There's probably
I love. I
nothing.
love. I love that movie. The I Am Legend movie. I think it's a good movie. It's one of his last really good movies. Will Smith,
I thought
which
it was
is
good.
it was 20 years ago. But they've been talking about. I don't know whatever
Ooh,
happened to it. It probably got
water.
canceled. But they were supposedly making a sequel to it. But I don't think it ever happened. So that's curious. Here's the other problem. We did mention it. They are if Netflix will now own the rights to make Kong and Godzilla films or whatever, and that's just tragic because I really like what they're calling the monster verse because everything has to be some kind of verse. I really like the Godzilla and Kong movies. I just think they're fun. I think they're a good time. They know what they are. They're not trying to be anything else, and that's really all I want. It's kind of like Transformers movies. I know a lot of people hate them. I'm not a big fan of them myself, but if they were more of like that, where it's just it's about the Transformers beating the shit out of each other, basically going to war with each other, I think more people would be happy. And instead, it's always got some weird human drama that nobody cares about, or randomly about Camelot, which was so fucking stupid.
Right. Oh
Uh,
yeah, that was Transformer stuff. But
yeah.
I do have option C
Uh-oh.
regarding the candy bar.
What do you got?
Feign ignorance.
You could just put it back, or eat it and be like, I don't. What are you talking about? Because
Right. Well, I
she
do.
wouldn't necessarily know it was you.
Right. Right. Well, I blame birds for a lot of stuff that happens around here.
Yeah.
We got ninja birds around here. Anyway, American Sniper now. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, okay. Um, you could do some more stuff with Sherlock. Put out a series, right? An actual series, because that series back in the late '80s, early '90s. Can't remember that actor's name from BBC. I think. That was killer. That was really good. What'd you
Yeah.
think of the Robert Downey Jr. Holmes?
I thought they were fun. They're not. It's not. It's not great cinema by any stretch of the imagination. I thought it
Yeah,
was
it was
fun
fun.
though.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Of course, MonsterVerse stuff, that's money. Troy,
Troy. I love that movie.
yeah, but I don't know what we could do with Twister. It came out Twisters, Clash of the Titans. You could do a series that was based about around the Sons of Zeus or something. You could do that.
Oh, bro, I've wanted for years somebody to take the I don't know how you pronounce it, but the Titan War and just make that into a movie.
Titan Alchemy.
Yeah, that thing. Make that into a whole movie series and let's go. Let's party. Like
Yeah,
that could be sick. You got the
it could
gods
be
versus
fun.
the Titans. Let's party.
Sure, that's true. Please leave this alone. San Andreas, whatever. Lego stuff, there's definitely room there.
Yep.
Matrix stuff, maybe. I wouldn't mind to see one of the early versions, like the horror verse that they created, right?
Hmm. Well,
That would
remember
be
the
interesting.
Animatrix? That thing was sick.
It was cool, dude. It was
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
go do that. Go make cool because apparently anime movies can make a fuck ton of money now. Go try it. Try it again. Let's get
Yeah.
some cool Matrix anime.
More stuff from Miller with
Yep.
300. There's a lot of Miller
300.
stuff you could get a hold of.
Oh
The
yeah.
Ocean, please God,
Oceans.
no. Exorcist, they did a series and stuff. I don't know how much life this has in it, but if you had a clever script, you could do something.
Mhm.
Terminator.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, dude.
They've drove that into the ground though.
They
Like it's
they
done.
don't own all of it though, because Terminator 2 should be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
This is the first Terminator I've seen. So do they not own 1 and 2?
I'm guessing not.
Yeah, because there's no way. This would be the the third one or fourth.
Hmm.
Uh, Sex and the City. Okay, fine. Batman, The Bodyguard.
Pacific Rim.
Have you seen the interviews with Kevin Costner regarding this movie and the death of Whitney Houston?
I have not.
Dude, it's heartbreaking. I know he's like a megastar. Who cares? But this guy loved Whitney, and she loved him. And if it weren't for the fact that they were both married in relationships, they would have ended up together. It's
And he had saved her
very
life.
He did, but he didn't save it ultimately because they got her. Right? Diddy got
Well,
her.
I'm saying he would have. He would
He
have
would have.
if
That's true.
that probably would have been a reality.
Yeah, but
Because
it's
there's a lot of
really
things you can say about Kevin Costner, but he's stable.
he's
He's
very
not.
stable. Yeah,
He's a stable
but
guy.
I didn't know that those two guys together, Kevin and Whitney, that is true love, dude. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. And that's not his opinion. That's me looking at the documentary and seeing they clearly were in love. And they
Hmm.
made an adult decision, which I respect. But it's a shame, dude, because that tore his heart out when she died, dude.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah,
It
that's a
does
shame.
happen.
And we lost her for no good reason either. Fucking Diddy, man. That pisses
Hmm.
me off more than most of the things he did. Although him diddling, Diddy diddling little kids is an issue because we know he was doing that shit.
Yep. I mean,
Fucker.
he calls himself Diddy. Like, what did we think was happening with this
Yeah,
guy? Like, come on.
piece of shit. And he got off too. It looks like. Pacific Rim, dude. There's a million things you could do with this. There's
Yeah.
so many things you could do with this. You
That's
could
the
do a
best.
crossover because they own the MonsterVerse.
Yep. That is the best Power Rangers movie ever made.
Yeah,
Pacific Rim.
Guillermo killed it, dude. Idris was all
Yep.
it was great, great fun. Robin Hood stuff. You might be able to do something Robin Hood maybe. Happy Feet
Mad
series was
Max.
cute. Mad Max. Oh my God, they own that.
Uh-huh. You're gonna get a whole lot more Furiosa. Get ready.
Oh my God, yeah, that's true. Oh, this right here failed. They should do a series on this because this book series is actually really good. They screwed that up. They
Hmm.
did screw that up. Okay, here's another Terminator. So they don't own the original; they own the later stuff. Okay.
Right.
Um, Edge of Tomorrow. You can't. It's done. But it was fun though.
That's a
The
good movie. He
Fugitive.
made right around that time. He made a bunch of really good sci-fi movies for some
Yeah,
reason. Tom
this was a
Cruise did.
real good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it failed.
There's
Yeah.
that one, and there's the what's the one?
Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion's so good.
Yeah, I liked it. That's more cerebral sci-fi though. That's probably why it didn't do well.
Hmm.
But this movie was real good, and it has Emily Blunt being Emily Blunt in it. Fugitive, we've done enough of that. Ocean stuff, I mentioned. The Mask, maybe. Tarzan stuff. Mm, let's see here. Rush Hour. It's really shocking how the chemistry between Jackie and Chris Tucker, dude. They're
Yeah, they get
really
along.
one of the best chemistries I've seen. Right?
Yep. No, I love the Rush Hour movies. He that was for over here. That was peak Jackie Chan.
Yeah, yeah.
That early 2000s run he had. He had those movies. He had the movies with Owen Wilson, the Shanghai Nights movies.
Right. Great
Uh,
fun.
yeah, they're just fun. For all of his faults as a person, and there are many,
Mm,
when it came to making fun movies, they don't
yep.
make them like that.
He's the
He
master.
was the only one. Yeah.
Yep. The Journey stuff, maybe. Once again, Mark Miller, dude, get on that.
Yep.
It's Mark Miller, right? I know it's Miller. Mark Miller, right? It's not,
Millar.
or
Is that the one
Frank
talking about?
Miller?
Frank Miller. That's who
Frank.
you're thinking of.
Okay, thank you. 7. Yeah, don't touch it. Don't look at it. It doesn't
Leave it
even
alone. It's
exist. Netflix,
perfect.
you
It
fuckers.
doesn't need to be fixed. It's perfect.
Imagine Netflix trying to reboot this. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
trying to
my
remake
god.
it. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Well, the
this
problem they're going to have is you don't have Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, and Morgan Freeman, and they're important because their chemistry was phenomenal, and
their
that's what made it
acting
work.
was phenomenal as well. But
Yeah,
also Netflix wouldn't get the fact that the most important person in that movie is Morgan Freeman. They wouldn't get it.
correct, correct.
Right? They would think they would either go the Brad Pitt character or Kevin Spacey. Wouldn't understand that this is all through Morgan's eyes.
Right.
He's the most important character. That's such a good movie. Lethal Weapon series. Now they came out with a really lame CW version of that. Oh god, it was bad, dude.
Mm.
It was like a series, right? The Blind Side, standalone. There's stuff you could do with Legos. People like the Lego stuff. Polar Express, standalone. Conjuring. We're gonna get millions of that shit, dude.
Yep.
Once again,
More
I agree with
Titans.
you. I want more Greek stuff.
Man, I would
Uh,
love even just like they've done. How many versions of Hercules have we seen them do, or Heracles
a
be the right way
lot.
to pronounce it?
Yeah.
But it's never actually it. When have they ever done the actual labors? I've never seen it. Not in a
No,
big budget film.
they always just touch on the idea of it. They always have him
Mm-hmm.
as a side character. He's just a strong guy. Austin Powers, God no. Um, let's see, The Green Mile, really good movie. Stephen King.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan. He passed away, didn't he?
Yes. I'm
It's a
tired,
shame.
boss. I'm tired, boss.
I'm afraid of the dark.
No,
Uh,
that was again peak Tom Hanks at 90 late 90s early
yeah,
2000s.
yeah,
He was on a tear.
yeah. And it's a really interesting movie because in the end, Tom Hanks' character is a good guy. He is a good
Hmm.
guy, but he does kill one of God's angels.
Hmm.
He does, and he admits it. And he sees his look. A lot of people see at the Amber he's well over 100 years old, right? He's very old, and they see that the Duncan character gave him long life, longevity, and etc. But you miss the point. That's a punishment.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
To
Wedding
wither.
Crash. Yeah, Wedding Crashers. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it.
Oh,
Scooby.
well, it's pretty funny. I think you'd like it.
Fair enough.
It's literally about dudes who crash weddings to bang girls. That's the point of it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I guess that it's Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
Yes.
Well, Vince Vaughn maybe, but Owen Wilson always struck me as a closeted gay guy.
Well, he might be, but that was when he was still young and pretty. Young and
Well,
pretty with
I
that
guess.
ridiculous nose.
But Vince Vaughn, yeah, he probably did that in real life. Scooby Doo. Uh, we already see what they're going to do with that
Yeah. Yeah.
franchise. 10,000 BC. Actually, you could do something with that. There's something there.
Yeah.
I don't know this movie. Where's the Millers? You know this one?
It's a just a cheap comedy slop. It's
Okay.
nothing important. There's Rush Hour
uh,
again.
right. Well, we know all about the Conjuring universe. God
Dumb and
no.
Dumber. Look at
Uh,
the rating for Dumb and Dumber. That's one of the funniest movies ever made. And look at that rating.
yeah,
41. That's wild.
that is low. Or is
It's
that out of?
literally
Yeah, that's low.
it's literally supposed to be dumb, guys. That's the point. It was never it's
They're from Rhode Island, where
yeah.
I am.
Oh my gosh. Our pets heads are falling off. Fucking
Ellen
love that movie.
Ellen quotes the Wedding Crashers. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. What?
Oh, bro, it's right at the beginning. Even if you don't watch the whole movie, go look up the opening scene to the Wedding Crashers and watch it. You'll laugh your ass off. It's so funny.
Fair enough. Now, Dark
They're
Shadows
they're
come.
divorce lawyers, the two guys. That's what they do. They mediate
Oh, I
divorces or
see.
whatever. And some wife is bitching at her husband or whatever. That's what she says to him. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. And he just looks at her like, wait, what?
Right, right. Now, Dark Shadows started as a prime time soap opera back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And they did do a movie here with Johnny Depp, which I was fine. It was fine. I didn't have a problem with it, but there's certainly more meat on that bone, 100%. Eraser, that you could do more with Eraser. But we're kind of past it now. The
Yeah.
idea of that future tech, we're kind of already past that. More journey stuff. I already mentioned that. That's a one-off. AI, dude, there might be room for AI movies. You think?
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why
This
not?
this movie pissed the shit out of me, dude. Argo.
You're not a fan.
So boring, so stupid. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the greatest movie ever made."
There it is.
Fuck
Look at right here.
off.
DC Constantine
Oh, there's definitely
number
meat on that
100.
bone, dude. Yeah.
I would
Uh,
actually, I mean, as much as I like that version of it, and I do, I always have seen it as separate from Constantine himself.
right.
But I would love to get a proper Constantine series, like from like straight up comic accurate
Yeah.
Constantine. I think John Constantine's a great character, and it's my favorite name. If I ever did have a son, Chester, I'd name him Constantine.
Sure, why not?
Yep.
Cornelius is better.
I have a cat named that. Well, it's an outside cat, but I have a cat named
Fine. Uh, let's
that.
take a look at some of the other DC characters they haven't really done anything with.
There's the big one right there, number
Yeah,
3. How
but
the shit has there not been a how? How
100%.
have they not made that movie?
100%. Hal Jordan, they're screwing that up already. But Dick Grayson, 100%. Nightwing, why? Let's see here.
You know what would be kind of cool now that I just saw it and I just thought of it? If somebody with the same care and consideration as the people who made the Penguin show made a Lex Luthor show.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be interesting.
They actually made a Stargirl show that was okay-ish. Let's
Yep. Dark
see
Side.
here.
We'll never get him. Dark Side's never coming. He's just
Well, I don't
not.
know. Schneider might, because
We'll see, but
he's in the play. Kilowog's cool as shit.
Kilowog's cool. Yeah.
Saint Walker, yeah.
Kilowog.
I'm just
Jason
curious,
Todd.
who's deeper? Is it DC's roster or Marvel? Probably Marvel.
Probably Marvel, but DC has always had the bigger scale, in my opinion. It just feels bigger, a lot
Yeah,
of
it
it.
does. It does. Marvel's always a little bit more street level. Dude, we
Mhm.
could definitely have a Deathstroke series.
Absolutely, especially if you did it like the Penguin series from his perspective.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Booster Gold, that could be fun too, dude. A
That'd be
Booster
a
Gold
great
series.
series, Booster
Yeah,
Gold
if it
series.
was done
Booster's fun.
correctly. He is a lot of fun. Um, Maxwell Lord, they've already ruined it. They've ruined it.
Yeah, get that out of
Right.
here. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
There's Connell. Crypto.
Oh, Etrigan. Oh, I
Oh yeah,
would
they'll never do him right.
love a Demon Etrigan story. That would be cool, dude. Yeah, Etrigan would be
Yeah,
cool. Let's see here. Cat Man. Nah, maybe. Um, Harvey Bullock. Dude, street stories with Harvey Bullock.
that'd be cool.
Imagine like a kind of mystery noir, throwback series, retro series, literally called Street Stories with Harvey Bullock. That would be cool, dude. Because he's good, but also kind of corrupt, right?
Right.
Rasagul. Yeah, they've never done him quite right outside of animated either. Black Adam. That's a shame, man. That movie wasn't done better. It's a shame.
It is.
Detective Chimp. That could be fun. A fam, dude, a family-friendly detective chimp could be a lot of fun.
Sure.
Z-
Zatanna.
Zatanna.
The sexiest one. I don't care what anybody says. I take Zatanna over any of them.
She's pretty.
Oof.
She's sexy and powerful.
Mm-hmm. There he is, Mixel. Mixel, my boy.
Yeah, you could definitely do something with him. Let's see here. We've seen a lot of this stuff been done here or there, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
We've
There's
never got
Bane.
Bane quite right.
No, we never will.
They shouldn't even bother Bizarro. They don't have the chops.
No, he won't be funny. He won't be humorous at all.
Well, it
It'll just be
should be
cringe.
ironically funny, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It won't be
Yeah.
though. They'll
No.
try too hard.
Dude, Phantom
Um,
Stranger, you could do some real fun stuff with that.
you could. You could do with Martian Manhunter too. Um,
Absolutely, yeah.
there he is. There's Prime. Look at him. That's a good shot of Prime too. I love Superboy Prime. He's such a great character.
Yeah.
And it's one of the rare times where they haven't overused him somehow. They just haven't. He gets saved for really big events.
We haven't got the Titans in live action, really, have we? We got that CW thing, but it was god awful.
Yeah.
They made her a chubby black girl with Cheeto hair. It's like, really? She's orange. Why are you hating on orange people, racists? Dead Man would be a great series if done correctly. Dead Man would be great. He stands out because he is a DC character, but he's not really a DC universe guy. He is, but he isn't.
Right.
You could do a
No,
lot
Dead
with
Man's
him.
cool.
Yeah, Dead Man. Yeah, Static. Why don't we have that? That's a
I
good
have no
character, dude.
idea where Static is. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
it's weird. Anyway, let me move on because Netflix.
Because Netflix CEO highlights Penguin, not guns, DCU. Well, because I mean, come on.
Well,
That's like comparing fucking platinum to tin. What are we doing here? Like it's not
yeah,
even close. The Penguin is that whole from beginning to end is better than anything DC's put out in fuck
a long
30
time, dude.
years.
But it's not
Yeah,
just Penguin. It's Matt Reeves's universe, is what
right.
they're talking about. And fair enough, dude. I'm on board for that. the problem is the problem we have with Netflix is their suits can't get out of the way.
Right.
And like we know that the people who made Penguin are woke, but they put that aside and were professionals for the most part, right? I don't know that Netflix could get out of the way, but you're
No,
going to
you
get
can't.
it whether you like it or not. I guess we're definitely going to get this because Gunn is definitely out, dude. I don't see him
Hmm.
surviving at all. And we're going to get Schneider. So it's like, all right, the people have spoken, I guess.
Well, which people? Um,
Well,
no, the problem with Gunn is he didn't succeed. If he had come out and cracked $1 billion with that Superman movie, a lot of these talks wouldn't even be on the table.
sure,
There'd be
or
you can't argue with it with success.
not spend $500 million. How about that?
Yeah, on a movie that looks like it was maybe 100 million is what it cost to make.
Yeah, it's just outrageous the amount of money they're spending and stuff, and that in one way will be a good thing because Netflix doesn't allow that kind of spending.
Yeah.
Now, often you see that because they'll say here 5 million, go make something, right? They'll
Hmm.
do that, and we're just going to all that list we just went through for DC. Everybody's going to get their little thing,
Yep.
right? And they're just going to
I
be
wouldn't be
throwing it
surprised
out.
if you do see some Static though. He's a character that people
Why
always
not,
mention.
dude? He's great.
Yeah, I don't get it.
He's a
I
good
don't get it
character.
either.
That
Um,
whole what was it called? It's not Valiant. That whole universe there created by the black dudes. What do they call
mhm.
that? It's DC owned, but it had its own name. But yeah, no, Static is a great character. He, in my opinion, a lot of people try to make analogies with other characters, but he is DC Spider-Man. That's what he
He
is.
could he could be if
Yeah,
they actually pushed him.
yeah,
Uh, that's one of the problems. That's been a big problem with both of them. Is they keep tripping over their own dick trying to push shit nobody wants.
yeah.
Whereas if you push stat like Miles Morales, nobody wants that
Milestone.
shit.
Thank you, Alan. Yeah,
Nobody wants Miles Morales. I'm sorry to tell you. I mean, there are some kids who do now because they've been indoctrinated with it for the last 20 years, but he's still not even close to Peter. Imagine
no,
what you could do with a guy like Static if you just put the rocket on his ass and make him a prominent feature of your world, of what you're
yeah.
doing.
He'd be fun character. And we've talked extensively about Miles Morales, what should have been done with him in regards to his family and all of that.
Yep.
They screwed up with that because, of their agenda.
Had to get rid of the white boy. That was really all it is. At the end of the day, white boy had to go. His beautiful red-headed wife had to go first. They got rid of him for her
Well,
first.
they
Got
sluttered
her
her
out of the
up,
picture.
whored her out first,
Yeah.
just for good
hmm
measure, of course.
Yep. And she
Yeah.
still is, from what I understand, still out there whoring about.
I think she's a
That's
lesbian
it'll fight.
now.
Yeah, what? Same difference at this
Yeah.
point. What's it matter? Uh, and it's just so annoying because again, unnecessary. Obviously agenda driven. Obviously some creep who just had a fetish and a fantasy, cuck porn shit. And that's what we got. We got Super Spider-Man got to get cucked repeatedly for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. That is a good point, Alan. It's actually a very good point. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Miles Morales is Miles Morales. That's a good
Correct.
point. That is a good point.
He's right.
But they could have done more with him. He could have evolved into a pretty cool character, actually, if
He
they were
should have
smart about
been
it.
Prowler.
He should have been Prowler. Yeah, that's what he should have been. Yeah, took over his uncle's mantle and
Yep.
made it legitimate.
Made it
Yeah,
his own thing because his power set isn't even really spidery. I mean, he could crawl and he's got webs. But other than that, he's like all electric and shit. Like,
yeah,
what are we doing
yeah.
here?
That's true.
It's not spidery. And he can go invisible. That screams Prowler. What are we talking about?
Hmm. Yeah, and he does. They don't want to pay the Ditko estate. Yeah, I'm sure there's some logistics involved in every decision we see because suits are suits. But the ideology, the message is a thing, dude. 100%. Now, I thought we take a look at some other stories I could have covered today. Aliens versus Predator reboot killed by Badlands box office flop. Yeah, how about just stop? How about that?
Yep.
How about
Yeah,
how
just
about that?
stop. Knock it off. Everybody knew this was going to flop. And if you didn't, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Uh,
We don't need yucky gay predators. What the hell,
we don't need feminized predators.
yucky, I
All
mean
right.
comedic. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, dude. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um
In fact, we don't need predators. We need less predators. We need to see much less of the predator in his own movies because that's what made the first movie work. He wasn't the centerpiece of his own movie
no.
because he's not.
No.
He's a
Yeah.
theme. The theme is
Yeah.
of being a predator. Gosh, you're going to get me going, Chester. It annoys me every time when I think about how everybody in Hollywood misinterpreted that fucking movie. That movie's a masterpiece. It really is.
Yeah, they
It
don't they
just
don't
annoys me.
understand. Well, that's the problem with a lot of things. They don't understand what they're dealing with. Mia Goff says Marvel's Blade unraveled. Yeah, no shit. And of
Yeah.
course, keep in mind, it's gone too long now. She's too old. But they wanted her to play Lilith in that. But I don't know. They might be able to pull it off. But she's too old. And we saw her in Frankenstein, and she is the weakest part of that by far. By far.
Mm-hmm.
She has zero chops. Now I understand why every movie she's in, she gets naked. I get it.
Yep.
Because she has no chops whatsoever, dude. But whatever. We know this is dead. And it's a shame. It could have been fun. But you never know what the future might hold because Disney's going to collapse as well. I don't know what Paradise is. You?
I have no idea.
Okay. Landman, I've seen clips from it. I haven't watched it though.
I've seen clips of it too. It looks like it's okay, but I haven't watched it either. The chick in there though that plays his wife is gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. And he's a pretty Billy Bob Thornton's a pretty solid actor. Let's be fair.
Yeah, no, he's a good actor. He's a total dickhead, but he's a good actor.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't care at all.
Yeah,
All
nobody
right.
cares. It's not the boys. It's not even anything remotely like the boys.
And Gunn is being pissy because he really, really, really doesn't like the fact that Matt Reeves' Batman was so successful. He hates it.
It's the most successful of the modern stuff
Yeah, but he hates it.
since the
Gunn
end of the
hates that.
Snyderverse.
He hates that. Um, Trying to save their jobs. So cover that. Um, and yeah, Netflix was told all their people, we got it.
We'll see.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 bombs big time at the box office. Okay, well, what do you mean by bomb? Well, we'll check in a minute. Um, They're doing a 50th anniversary. Are they going to do the original, or are they going to do the updated versions? I wonder.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, how many people do you think will go to the theater to see it, though?
Not that many. Well, it depends if they actually do something interesting. If they just put them out, then not that many. But if they maybe do just something fun with it, possibly more. Because we have the 25th anniversary of Lord of the Rings. They're getting ready to release that, the extended editions, in theaters, I think next month.
Yeah,
So they're trying to make a big deal out of that. But it's the only reason to go to a movie theater now is for an event. There's no reason to just go. It's not the hobby it was, where you could just go and watch a movie for a few hours and it wasn't expensive. It was a nice time. It's too fucking expensive for one, and for two, the movies suck. So unless you're going there for a cultural event or something, or it's something you really want to see, I can watch it on my big ass TV. I'm all right.
that's right.
It's all
That's
right.
right. Yeah. It might be fun to see it in a big screen, though.
Yeah.
Because I saw it in the drive-in. I didn't see it at the cinema, right? Um, and anyway, I had to check this to see what they meant by cut, because Avengers Doomsday Marvel cut Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman promos, meaning they did them. But no, they
Right.
just cut them. So, and I'd be surprised if they're hardly in Avengers at all, because they've certainly pissed off Disney, these two,
Oh yeah.
right?
By being successful, them
Yeah.
bastards,
But you remember
making them
that
look foolish.
day-long PR stunt where they kept showing directors' chairs?
Hmm.
Here we are just a few months later, and half those people are already not in the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's falling apart. Wow, look at that. 70,
75 cents.
yeah. Which I don't even think that's true. I've seen a lot of reports that Paramount's bid actually was technically higher.
Yeah, it was a cash bid. They were going to buy them straight up,
Yeah,
not finance it. Uh, and do stock and all the other bullshit they do to get these deals through, which means it's the better deal. So they have a case. It'll really depend on if the regulators and courts agree with them, but they have a case if they take it that far, which I think they're going to,
yeah,
because they were blindsided. Like I said, nobody thought. We talked about it. Everybody was like, "Nah, Netflix, nah." All the winds are going one way, and all of a sudden, boom, Netflix just has it.
yeah. But I mean, it is a powerful library for sure. This is just Zack Snyder showing off images again. I showed you the Henry Cavill one of Superman, and this is showing off Gal Gadot. They're doing an extended edition for the extended ones. I own those. They're like 4 hours, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, they're great
Yeah. They're doing a lot of going back to theaters. This is interesting. Why so many back in theaters?
because they can't make money on new shit.
They're not going to make money on these things either.
Well, yeah, but that's mostly just profit. They've already made their money on those
True, but
on
we've
those.
seen this going on for years, and they literally make less than $1 million.
Well, these ones will make more than that, but they won't make much more. Probably around 10, maybe 15, 20 at most.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I've heard this before, because Netflix will own all the stuff, and not just video. They'll also own the comic books and things like that. And they don't care about that. They might just shut it down, or
Yep.
freelance it out like Marvel's doing. Anyway, why
Anyway,
why the gay guy? What's the point of the gay guy?
maybe he represents Netflix. I don't know.
Problem, dude. I think you hit that on the nail on the head there. That's probably what it is. That's Netflix, and this is Warner Brothers and Trump. That's what it is. You're right. That is Netflix. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Mr. Latino dude, you do not have the face to be gay. Apologize.
Not pretty enough.
You got to put a beard on and be one of them butchy. What do they call them? Bears.
Bears.
Yeah, be a bear. You ain't
Imagine
got.
being an ugly gay man. Oof, that's a
That's what.
rough life.
That is rough, dude. That is rough.
Like at
But
least if you're gay, usually you're like, a pretty boy, real good looking.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
not, nah,
Usually, yeah.
nah, 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 nah,
Yep.
nah.
I don't know. Maybe he's a really good pillow biter. No, not gonna bite on that, huh?
I'm not doing it. You can't trick me. You cannot make me stumble. In fact,
There. Well,
I'm
let's
just gonna
see
eat my
what we got
pasta in
here.
peace.
What happened this week? Let's take a look. So Five Nights at Freddy's came out $63 million. I don't know that that's a flop. I guarantee you that movie didn't cost a lot to make.
Well, I don't know. It's not even out in all theaters either.
No, but I mean that's not a flop at all. What are they talking about for a cheap horror movie, dude? What are you talking about? 100, there's 50 million in their pocket, dude. They made money already. I think these kind of
Probably.
horror movies are not expensive, dude. They're
That's
cheap.
just this weekend. They had $100 million weekend. What do you mean they
Yeah, it's
flopped?
not a
What are
flop.
we talking about?
I mean, that's the thing. Like Superman should have been, F1, et cetera, et cetera. They should have been mega hits, but they spend
Yep.
ridiculous amounts of money on it, dude.
Yep.
Let's see what's Zootopia, because this thing was banging. Oh, it's $1 billion movie, dude. Yep. Disney just fail, 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 fail. $1 billion movie.
Boom.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's Zootopia, which is crazy because it hasn't even, how long has it been out? It's only been out. Whoa! It's only
Yeah,
been
I
out for
know.
2 weeks. There's no way that can't be right.
It's a banger. It shows you people want to go to the cinema, dude. They do. They do.
So in 2 weeks, it made $1 billion.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
what is happening.
It's a banger, dude. Yeah. And everything I've heard about it, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. This movie's getting a lot of pushback for various scenes in it.
The
And
wife
I don't
went and
know.
saw it,
Yeah.
and she said it's okay. But it's a movie for, it's a woman movie.
Yeah.
It's a musical, the whole deal. So, but she said it's okay. Uh, she didn't really have many complaints, but she didn't have a lot of praise either. It's just, is what it is. Story wrapped up. Um, they do the thing the whole point of this is to try and recontextualize the Wicked Witch. She's not really bad. Uh, and that's
That's
what they
true.
do
Roger.
largely. She's not
Yeah.
really bad. She only does what she does for there's a reason. And of course, Oz is of course the bad guy. But they do have an interesting point because I mentioned this earlier how the public doesn't care because they want their fantasies. They don't care about
Right.
reality. That's kind of the point of the movie, which is why it's called Wicked for Good.
Right.
Because at one point she confronts him, and I guess he says it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you tell them the truth; they're not going to believe you. They want me to be their hero, basically.
Yeah.
So I am, and he's right. That's just how the people are. So she comes up with this idea to be their villain for them, basically. Give them something to hate, so that Dorothy can bring balance to the world or something. I don't know. It's something weird like that. Uh, so that's basically the premise of it. But I watched the first one with her, like I said, and it's fine. It's a musical. It's not for me. I know that. I don't pretend that it is. It's fine. So
Well,
I don't think I think a lot of the pushback you're seeing against this film is because of her, the lady, the starring lady. She's a
the
total
creepoid. Yeah.
creepy, weird
Absolutely.
looking, just
Um.
a cretin of a person. Like we
Yeah.
don't need this. We don't need to popularize this person. Let's get him out of here.
Yeah.
And then
Um.
whatever the hell they did to Ariana Grande, she doesn't even look like the same person anymore.
No,
I don't
something's
know
wrong with
what the
that
fuck.
girl.
Yeah.
I do know there's a lot of mothers that are pushing back because there's like a very suggestive sex scene in it, I guess.
Is
And
there?
they brought their kids to it. Yeah. I guess it's mostly innuendo, but there's a lot of angry mothers. Let's
There
see
always
what
are.
uh, uh, Kujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu
Not
Kaisen.
so much. That's
Well, that's
interesting.
only in 1,800 theaters too. It's
Yeah,
not even a full release.
but why didn't that hit like the other one? That's interesting because that was a big one. Ooh, they show they're doing the whole Kill Bill thing, huh?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean that
that's
still made 3 mil
in their
for
pocket.
something that's yeah,
In
it's
their
money in the
pocket.
pocket.
Yep,
The fuck is that? That's some Indian shit, isn't it?
it is. It's a star-studded saga, though.
I bet it is.
Okay, nope, didn't come out in many theaters though. Merrily We Roll Along, comedy, I guess.
I guess.
Okay, Fackham Hall.
Uh,
Oh,
you got go back up when you go back to that other one. Go back to the Running Man. See what it's doing.
Sure. Thackham Hall, a new porter, forms an odd bond with the youngest daughter of a well known UK family. As the Devonport family, headed by Lord and Lady Devonport, of course, deals with the epic disaster of the wedding of their eldest daughter to her caddish cousin. Downton Abbey, I guess? All right, whatever. You wanted to see The Running Man. Oh, yeah. This, the
Oof.
critics hate this movie, dude. They hate it.
This movie has bombed
Yeah,
officially.
and this has.
It came out a month ago,
Yeah.
almost a month ago,
Now,
and that's all it's got.
to be fair, I don't think it's a mega budget, but even though it hasn't made its money back at all.
No, and
But
it
a lot
isn't
of
gonna.
people are really complaining about it because it has no heart. It has no soul whatsoever. It's just that a lot of critics are asking, why did you even bother?
Right.
Which is never a good thing to have critics ask. Wow, man, just outside of this monster, Zootopia and Wicked, just no money to be had, huh?
Nope. And I think we still have the Avatar movie coming too, so they're gonna have a good December. Hollywood. December's gonna look good for them, unless for some reason Avatar just
Maybe
suddenly decides to not make money. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Lucy Liu. So I'm assuming my wife will watch this one because everybody over here, they all say that she looks like Lucy Liu. They've been saying that for decades. I don't know if I see it, but I guess a little bit. But therefore, my wife likes Lucy Liu. I did think it was funny because she's married to like a billionaire or something, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
she
back
was
in the
smart,
yeah, well,
and she
sure,
was still
why
young
not?
and pretty. She locked herself down a retirement plan.
She
Good
did.
on her.
But what back in the day, back like 20 years ago, something like that, or when did all the
20 years
when
ago, 25.
when did the whole somebody hacked the Instagram or something and it got all these celebrity nudes? When was that?
Want to say it was 2014, like somewhere in that
It's
area.
like a decade ago.
Yeah, about a
Because
decade ago.
she got caught up in that.
Hmm.
But it was it was, well, I don't really know, but I guess they said it was so crazy mundane that no one cared. So she caught like zero flack with it. So I don't
Yeah.
know what it was, but it must have been like the most boring sex ever. Um, because the one who really got hammered by that out of all of them was Jennifer Lawrence. And to be
Hmm.
fair, why are you taking pictures of your face covered in cum and putting it on the internet? What is wrong with you,
Well, she
right?
was sending it to somebody specifically, and it was in the cloud, so they were able to
Still,
access it. Yeah,
why would you
I
do
don't
that?
know.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
so because a few of those images made it on document. Of course they're blurred out, made them on documentaries, and a couple of the ones I seen with her were like, whatever, just a kind of normal body girl, right? Of course they blurred out the important bits, I guess. But that one, it's like, why would you send? I mean, if you want, I wouldn't even take a photo of that. I mean, would you? Would your girlfriend, or in this case, would your wife, but say girlfriend, would you take some kind of picture of your girlfriend in that situation at all?
Um, if I didn't give a shit about her,
I would
maybe.
never. I would never.
But
I,
if it was one I actually liked, because sometimes you have girls who are they're just kind of around, right? Uh, if
sure.
it was one I actually wanted something real with, no, I would have more respect for her. But if it's, I mean, if she's a slut, she's a slut, Chester. You gotta
Yeah.
treat them like what they are.
No,
Meet them where they're at.
I never have. I've certainly had my fair share, but and I've certainly had the one night stands and just the little easy fuck girl when you're bored on a Saturday night. Sure,
Yeah.
I get it. My history, but
Mhm.
I would never do that to another human being.
You were a
I would,
man whore. Yeah.
yeah, but I would never do that to another human being. I would never, Ever?
Well, some girls like it. That's the thing. Like
Nah.
they get off on it. It's porn. Porn has changed the mind space. Well, mindscape's the right word of a lot of these women. They've they they've been convinced that it's empowering or sexy to see themselves that way. So that they want you to do
That's
that. They
weird. I
want to be
mean,
recorded. They want to watch it back. Like I'm just telling you.
but I
I'm
mean,
just telling you.
me personally, just a naked picture, I would never do that. But of
Mhm.
course, the whole I don't even what do they call that with the cum all over the face. What
Bukkake
is
is when it's multiple people. It's just a facial. Is the term the porn term a
facial?
facial?
All right. Why do I learn this shit? But I've never even done that to a girl. Why would I do that? Why would I put cum
They
all over a girl's
Chester,
face, dude?
they like it, Chester. You're not understanding that there are women who enjoy it. They like to be degraded.
I don't know, but they
Makes them
like getting
horny.
fucked hard. I know that. Grab them up by the hair and go to town. They
Yeah,
like that.
make them watch it. They like that too.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a
grab them by the hair
prude.
and
I
make them
guess I'm
watch
a
it.
prude. I'm a prude. I'll
You
accept it.
are. You're just lucky you're tall. That's your.
Yeah, it's
It
creepy,
is
dude.
shocking how much women will excuse just because a guy's tall. It's very strange how important that is to women. Even my sisters. I was just talking to them at Thanksgiving. My sisters are both 5 foot and 5'1". So basically, every man on earth is taller than them by multiple inches,
Right.
right? And they even still know he has to
That's
be at
true,
least
but true.
like 5'10", 6 foot tall, or I'm not interested. Bitch, what do you care? Every man over 5'5" towers over you. What does it matter? But they just have this weird thing the modern women do about height. It's strange. It used to be men who cared about that, right? They cared about if a man was big and tall and they looked up to him and stuff, right? That was like the romantic thing about a man, like not sexual, but you know what I mean,
Sure.
uh, artistically. And now, for some reason, all these women are just obsessed with height. It's very strange.
It is weird, but I mean, women have always kind of cared. I mean, but also being a tall dude, when I walk into a room, I'm usually the tallest person in the room. Not always, but usually.
Mhm.
And even without speaking a word, I automatically have authority,
Yeah,
right? It is a thing, whether it be male or female, right? People in the room. Um, but I mean, if then when I speak, if I can show some intelligence and some leadership qualities, it's like automatic, right?
yep,
But height is it is an interesting thing, especially if you because if you think of the overall idea of it, a man who is 6'5" compared to a man who is 5'5", in reality, it's not that big a difference based on our anatomy. Not
right.
really. It's only a foot. It's not
Yeah.
much, right?
And
But yet we
the
care.
other thing that they think about is, the size of the endowment, and it has nothing to do with height. We've done studies on it. You can be short, tall, doesn't matter. Apparently, there's a big study that came out from Japan, and they checked like 30,000, I think it was, or 50,000 corpses to measure like what is the physical characteristics that you can see that isn't that is a good indicator of whether or not a man has a big dick. It's a big nose. If you have a big nose, apparently it's the best correlation they could find was a large nose in Japan.
Okay.
I said, okay,
Yeah.
that's weird, but
Well,
okay.
I don't understand why we care, right?
I
Um,
don't either.
I mean, ultimately, it's a woman's decision if that means so much to her. But I don't know the obsession. But then again, when we get into this modern identity politics, it's often revolving around homosexuality, transgenderism, and stuff like that. And you have these people, their entire lives are focused on sex. And it's like, yeah, sex is great, dude, but there's a lot more to do in life than just
That's right.
sex.
It's one of those things
They're
like
obsessed, dude.
it's one of those things kind of like money. When you don't have money, unless you're weird like me, most people really, really want money. Right? They really, really want a bunch of money.
Sure.
I'm unique in that way. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like once you get access to it whenever you want it, it loses a lot of its luster.
It does. It does. It does. And, women usually maintain the desire for money anyway.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily in a bad way, because they need
No,
it, right?
no, it's not wrong. It is
Yeah.
what it is. I'm not judging judging people
Yeah.
for it. That's whatever your ambition is, have it. But I've just never been wired that way. I get it from my mom. She wasn't that way either. She did not care. She
Yeah, yeah.
did not care.
Yeah, but I just don't understand this. I don't even know if it's modern. It's probably always been here, but this just obsession with sex and
Mhm.
it just absolutely taking over your life. I can understand young people, but
Yeah,
we're
it's
talking
hormonal.
30, 40, 50-year-old people obsessed with it. It's like, dude, really?
No, it's a fairly modern thing. I mean, there's been pockets throughout history where it was a more salacious time, but it's a fairly modern thing. I think in the West anyway, at least in the last very long time, especially since probably Christianity, this is the most we'll use salacious. That's a good word. Salacious period that I can think of
Well, there's a
because and
few
it's
others, but you're right. It's pockets. Yeah.
it's and it's almost always driven by how easy it is to access women because women won't they just won't say no. I don't know why. For so many of them have lost their ability to be virtuous, but they just
It
won't.
is. It
I, I I've
seems true. Yeah.
I've seen even like men who are just like they're just normal dudes. There's nothing. They're not great looking. They're not tall. They're not anything. They're not even that charming, and they're just getting pussy all the time. And I'm like, what's wrong with you women? Do you have no standards? You have no standards. Well, the
Yeah.
answer apparently is no.
I guess not. But because you were mentioning pockets, but we all know that our modern world is kind of a lot of people say Roman. I'd say Greek is probably more accurate culture.
Hmm.
It really pushes our governments and our
Hedonistic.
well, it's just, the thinking of the Greeks in how we go about our capitalistic eternal search for invention. The Greek thinking. But what they don't understand is when you talk about debauched, the government's rulers, the people who control everything, are not Roman nor Greek. They are Babylonian.
Hmm.
And that's a legitimate statement. All those royal houses, including Little William and Charles and the spare Harry, they're all coming out of Babylonian lineages. Understand that, right?
Which is interesting when you contextualize the Book of Revelation. And one
Yeah,
of the great verses in that is "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great."
yeah.
Uh, People have interpreted that many ways. What is that? What is the whore of Babylon? What is it? It's what you're talking about. It's that bloodline. That's going to
Might
fall.
well be.
And
It's all
that's
of
going to
them.
be the end. That's going to be the end of the world as we know it. The
Tr-
Antichrist is going to destroy them
oh,
all
oh,
and
Trump is
conquer them.
part of that too.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Everybody is. Everybody
Um.
at the top is, Chester. You don't get
Yeah.
to the top
It's
unless you're in
true.
the club. It's a big
But
club and you ain't in it.
that's right. And George Carlin was correct. But
Hmm.
the reason I mention it is because you don't get more debauched than Babylon.
No.
And not even at one particular time, like at many times during their history. Babylon was
Yep.
bad debauched because they had no God. Now people say,
Right.
well, they worship Marduk. No, they had no God. They had nothing as a guiding lens to them.
Truly godless people.
They were. They were.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, the Japanese are godless too, but they don't have the perversities that Babylon had. They were real bad. Are we worse today than Babylon?
Hmm. In scale, yes, because it's
Yeah, that's
more
strange. That
industrial.
shouldn't be a hard question. I should be able to say no, but
Hmm.
no, that's hard.
Hmm.
Anyway,
No, it's something that it's probably the thing that the Abrahamic religions are correct about more than anybody wants to admit. That chastity is very important, and once you lose that as a cultural force, everything unravels very quickly. And it's happened many times throughout history.
yeah,
When we get these salacious periods, things go to shit. I'll give you a great example in the last 100 years: the Roaring Twenties. Very
yeah,
salacious time, and then
very
guess what happened right after that? Everything went to shit.
collapse. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but they were very debauched in the 20s, that's for sure. But of
Hmm.
course, the thing with Babylon is it continued on with Byzantium, right?
Hmm.
And their debauchery continued, I'd say, up until I mean, that's centuries, dude. I'd say up until the Ottoman crackdown.
Mm.
And that
The
crackdown
Muslims
was,
showed up.
well, because I mean, people, they talk about numbers, but we've only had Islam as we know it for about 500 years. That's the
Right.
truth. Don't believe the hype, right? And of course, the Ottomans were rebuilding from a collapse of the Byzantine or Tartarian, whatever hell you want to call it.
Hmm.
That collapsed on them, right? And the Ottomans had to, about 400 years ago, had tightened that up, and they did it by, in many ways, but one of it was also societal. And a lot of
Yep.
these really harsh anti this and anti that things that Islam has today is coming out of their fight to get rid of the debauchery. And if you really want to be honest with yourself, they weren't wrong because it was
No,
out
it's
of
correct.
control, dude. Right?
There's like I'm not a prudish person by any stretch of the imagination, but the reality is chastity is a virtue for a reason.
It
It's
is.
important.
Yeah,
And
but
when you allow yourself to lose it as a cultural force, like I said, everything just starts to unravel around it.
yeah,
Because so much of our psyche is around our sex drive, especially as men. So when it's just, the walls come down, well, then you lose a lot of your foundation.
yeah. And one of the rules that Islam has kind of rolled back onto recently, which is unfortunate because the Ottomans cracked down that hard, but it's in the holy scriptures of Islam, which is the
Hmm.
problem. But one of the things they cracked down on because a lot of times they didn't have open prostitution.
Right.
They had in a few places they did, but in general, what they did was fathers would basically sell off, marry. I huge air quotes here. Forget what they call it. The Muslims have a term
Hmm.
for it, but they would basically marry their daughters for a week to a guy
Yep.
and get paid lots of money for it. They were basically prostituting their daughters out. And the
Lovely.
Ottomans were like, "Oh, no, 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 that's enough of that."
We won't be having that.
Yeah,
That's enough of that.
and other
Uh,
things.
yeah. Which and it's like, yeah, obviously you shouldn't be promoting these behaviors.
Right.
It's one of the things that it's hard to make a case against the Abraham. Now it can go too far, of course, like the burqas. I think that's an overcorrection.
That's a
But
very modern thing, though.
yes, but my point is it's hard to argue against the Abrahamics chastity. Their push for chastity is really just a push against greed
Yeah,
and hedonism. And hedonism is very dangerous. Once you let it
right.
fester, it kills
It
everything.
gets out of control. And this is another thing people don't understand about the Ottomans. They had forced conscription, and they look at that as an evil, and in a way it is. But where were they taking these forced conscripts from? They were taking them out of Caucasus. They were taking them out of the Aryan Germanic areas. They were taking them out of places that were not Byzantine, right? And what were
Yep.
they doing with them? Were they attacking other places? Well, a little bit, although they got their asses handed to them quite handily, especially with Mehmet the Third. But however, most of that conscription was brought from outside the empire into it to police it. So they were
Right.
finding people who were moral. They were raised in moral societies, Christian societies. And that's why they wanted them because they were moralistic and it was very easy for them to come in and say ooh and then punish the sinner. That's why the
Right.
Ottomans did that. It wasn't
Hmm.
to try to control the Christian society because they had no influence over it other than their barbarity. But
Hmm.
they did that intentionally for internal use, not external use. Matter of fact, a lot of those conscripts never saw actual fighting time because against the Eastern European Empire or kingdoms. And
Hmm.
a lot of the people that they were having problems with were conscripted inside the Ottoman Empire because they were filthy, disgusting humans, and they were forced in the military, which is why they sucked as soldiers. So it
Right.
all their ideas may well have been somewhat noble, but it all backfired on them because when they went up against Prague and several, the Hammer Mattel and all those kind of people, they just got absolutely obliterated. I mean, so Mehmet the third boy, he lost the Ottoman Empire really there. It struggled on for a few centuries because the Christians were trying to configure themselves and didn't want to waste the manpower and the time to go in and just end them, which they could have done.
Yes,
Yeah. But it
they could
is
have.
interesting dynamic when you look at it. They were literally trying to get rid of the scourge of Babylon.
Yep.
So,
Yep. It's been because there's so when I was very deep into the theology that I was taught, they interpreted that there's the different Babylons, different Romes, if the same thing, throughout history.
the Romans weren't
Uh,
even close, dude. The Romans were
yeah,
quite immoral people, actually.
no. What I'm talking about is like power level.
Oh,
They
sure.
they interpreted it as they would say he would say the different Romes, but then he would also say you could also say different Babylons because Babylon was always, especially in the Old Testament, was seen as like the pinnacle. Uh, Besides Egypt, but another example. But regardless, there was four of them in their understanding of biblical history.
Yeah,
And obviously, the real Babylon was one of them. Rome was one of them. Greece was one of them. And all of these, was it Greece? Maybe it was Egypt. It was Egypt. All of these fell for various reasons.
sure.
And they were saying that this era, or the era that will be at the end of the world, which is what most Christians always assume is their era, uh, is the fourth Rome or the fourth Babylon.
Sure.
So when Revelation is talking about fallen is Babylon the Great, some people interpret that to mean like America, maybe, or whoever the hegemon is at the
Maybe.
time. Uh, but I think when you think about the wording, when it talks about the whore of Babylon, it's a very almost sexual way of describing it. I think it's talking about the bloodline of Babylon is going to be destroyed.
Maybe.
That's what's going to be destroyed, and
Maybe.
I think the Antichrist is going to be the one to destroy them because Satan's going to be done with them. Their real God's going to come back and be like, okay, I'm done with you, and get rid of them,
Wow. Did you
take them
just
out.
have a realization that if you are not with Jesus, you are owned by Satan, which is
Yeah,
exactly what the Bible says?
correct.
Wow. Most Christians
Correct,
have
sir.
no clue about that. Um,
I do.
yeah. But no,
God's pretty black and white. You're either with him or
he
you're not.
is.
You're on
That's
his
true.
team or you're on the other team.
Um,
That's it.
yeah, but a lot of people have Hollywood imagery of stuff. The Romans were extremely moral people.
Nowhere.
They were not debauched. There were not orgies going all over the place. They weren't.
No.
Why do you think they killed Caligula so quickly? Right? Or
Mm-hmm.
Nero when he lost his damn mind. Now, sure,
Mm-hmm.
in cities like Pompeii, which were basically R&R places for the military, this is what it
Vegas.
was. It would I had prostitution, sure, but go to Rome and find it. Right?
Right.
We haven't uncovered any of it. Right?
Right.
The Egyptians were incredibly moral. The Greeks,
Yep.
well, less so.
You
But
can't have a civilization without being righteous. Only
yeah,
the righteous can be free,
yeah,
and a Roman citizen was pretty damn free when
yeah.
you look at it. They had a
It
lot
is
of
true.
a lot of rights.
Yeah,
The Egyptian citizens did too. The ones who
yeah,
actually were at the top of that food chain. So only the people who have morality or right, or I would just call it righteousness, can be free. I think
yeah,
that's just reality. And as soon as you start to lose your ability to call out wickedness for what it is, well, of course you're going to lose your freedom because the wicked are just going to chain you. That's what
yeah,
they're
yeah.
going to do.
And Babylon, which Turkey, right? Let's just think of it
Yeah.
like that. Turkey, the Persians. Um, the reason why, yeah, I know a lot of people, Iraq and stuff. Well, sure, they used to own a lot more territory than they do today. But the reason why they were able to survive with a culture that was so debauched, because you would think it would just collapse, because they do, was because of the money. The Silk Road went right through it.
Right.
And it was this constant influx of money, constant. Um, and that's what kept them going so long. And even though Babylon has had many names throughout history, um, it's always Constantinople, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the end, I mean, ultimately. Now, I understand Babylon originally was in a different location. Yeah, but that's not the whole point of the analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, whew, that's what I got for us today.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
We in and out. We on
We
with life,
we
folks.
are
Quick and dirty.
going to work, doing stuff. 2 days we'll be back. Continue on lockdown Chicago. We're having fun with that, so that's cool.
It's a good time.
Yeah, and The one thing I would, because we chat about all kind of things, give our opinions and whatever. We're just having some talks, but in to be completely honest, keep an eye on Britain because
Popping off.
it's popping, dude, and I think it's going to get ugly, 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 ugly.
Listen,
Um,
the angle, the Englishman, if you will. He's got to find his fucking balls again.
he
These people
does,
brought the world to their knees. What are you doing? Get up. Stand the fuck up and fight for your country.
yeah,
Do
and
it.
they are starting to. And Tommy was so red faced the other. Tommy Robinson was so red faced the other. They're going to arrest him again, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Even
they're
though
gonna
he's
yeah.
not really
Mhm.
doing anything. But when it's all said and done, I wonder what leadership role Tommy Robinson will have, because
We'll
that's
see.
a true rebel leader right there.
Mhm.
But we'll see. Just keep an eye on it because wow, dude, it's yeah, I'm in a way really worried for them, but in another way I'm happy for them because it's about fucking time, dude.
Let's hope they keep up.
I hope so. Nevertheless, take us out of here, dude.
I'm gonna do your favorite one, Chester. Master's not the one who completes his training. Master is the one who never stops.
Namaste. Very truthful statement. Later, everybody.